Chapter 87. What kind of reward does Miss Feng want? Li Qiuhong asked after a moment of silence. Although Feng Yaoguang didn't say it out loud, she more or less knew what she wanted. Feng Yu. I want Feng Yu. Feng Yaoguang pointed at Feng Yu and said, although you're a hothead, you're not bad at all. Also, I need a helper for the selection of the 4 academies. I think you're a good choice. No way. The Li family sisters said without hesitation. No way? Why? Feng Yaoguang asked, puzzled. I'm the one who saved the Li family. Why can't you give me a single reward? They didn't know how to respond to Feng Yaoguang's words. After all, that was what it looked like on the surface. The Feng family helped the Li family out of trouble. This was a life-saving grace. It wasn't too much to ask for a reward from Feng Yu. However, to the Li family, Feng Yu was also a life-saving benefactor. They couldn't let him down. How could they send him around like goods? Sigh. Little friend Feng, what do you think? Steward Chen asked for Feng Yu's opinion. To be honest, the Feng family's help this time really saved them from the abyss of suffering. At the very least, the Black Demon sect couldn't interfere in their affairs openly. What happened next would depend on the Li family's ability and fortune. I can understand your thoughts. The problem is, I can't just walk away. Feng Yu said bluntly. Saving the Li family was the result Feng Yu wanted, but it didn't mean he was ready to put himself on the scale. Miss Li also has a chance to become a disciple of the 4 academies, right? Feng Yaoguang changed the topic. Ah, yes. Li Qiuhong, who didn't know why the topic changed to her, replied. Then isn't it settled? Feng Yaoguang clapped her hands. There's still some time before the selection of the 4 academies. Although the location of the selection isn't necessarily the same, the invitations from the 4 academies have something in common. The location is mainly provided by the nearest academy. What are you trying to say? Feng Yu asked. What I want to say is that what the eldest miss of the Li family needs to do now is rest and recuperate, concentrate on breaking through, and not get involved in some miscellaneous matters. You came to my place and we can explore together. When the time comes, we can share the information with the eldest miss of the Li family. Wouldn't that be perfect? Feng Yaoguang said with a smile. Feng Yu remained silent. In fact, Feng Yaoguang had said so much for herself. Although she was a 3-star martial grandmaster and had powerful cultivation techniques and martial techniques as her backing, the 4 great academies had gathered many people who had become martial grandmasters before the age of 20. In comparison, although Feng Yaoguang was still outstanding, she was not invincible. In the selection of the 4 great academies, the disciples who passed were usually divided into 3 grades: Star, Moon, and Sun. Even though there were many stars, they still hung in the sky and couldn't be underestimated. The moon was a level higher than the stars. It could emit endless radiance on its own. The sun was in existence far above the stars and the moon. It was the focus of the world. Feng Yaoguang was proud and arrogant. She definitely didn't want to just be a star. However, whether it was the moon or the sun, it wasn't that simple. She could only try her best and bet all her chips. However, the existence of the 4 great academies wasn't simple to begin with. Even if it was the treasure house or their 6-star martial kings, they wouldn't be able to do anything. However, Feng Yu's existence gave Feng Yaoguang hope. If she had Feng Yu as her right-hand man, it would be very possible for her to become a moon disciple. That was why Feng Yaoguang would rather offend the Black Demon sect to help Feng Yu. Not only did she want Feng Yu to be grateful, but more importantly, Feng Yu was a person who knew how to repay kindness. Even if she had saved someone with a motive, saving someone was still saving someone. After all, she had saved the Li family. There was no doubt about that. Therefore, as long as the conditions were right, Feng Yu would definitely do his best to help her. Which academy are you going to apply for? Feng Yu thought for a moment and said. The place he wanted to go was the Azure Dragon Academy. Because the Void Martial Emperor's cave was in the Azure Dragon Academy. If Feng Yaoguang's destination was different from his, of course, he wouldn't be able to travel with her. Azure Dragon Academy. My father graduated from the Azure Dragon Academy. As his daughter, of course I have to take the exam. Feng Yaoguang said bluntly, that's one of the reasons. Another reason is that my father is a graduate. Once I get in, I will have some preferential treatment. Overall, the Azure Dragon Academy is the best. Feng Yaoguang's words were reasonable and hard to refute. Azure Dragon Academy. Okay. Feng Yu pretended to ponder and finally agreed, but there's a time limit. At most, 1 year. Haha, okay, I agree. Since that's the case, Feng Yu, go back and prepare. 7 days later, we'll meet at the Treasure House branch of the Great Dragon Lake. Feng Yaoguang laughed and agreed. 1 year didn't seem long, but it was enough. Moreover, she was confident that after Feng Yu followed her, he wouldn't be willing to leave. Great Dragon Lake? You know the location of the selection? Li Qiuhong asked in shock. There are a few locations in our area. How can I be sure? But my father is from the Azure Dragon Academy, so I know their thoughts. The possibility of it being the Great Dragon Lake is very high. Feng Yaoguang said mysteriously. In short, it's similar to the Imperial examination questions. My father bet on the Great Dragon Lake. Everyone was enlightened. After that, both parties conversed for a while and the Li family left early. According to the rules of the black market, they weren't allowed to leave early. But with the help of the treasure house, it became much easier. Everyone, please come this way. Our treasure house's Thundercry flying boat is very famous. An old man chuckled as he spoke to Feng Yu and the rest. Obviously, Feng Yaoguang had her own ideas and didn't want to waste time on trivial matters. But Feng Yaoguang's EQ was also very high. She knew that if she took Feng Yu away, it wouldn't be a big deal to her. But with Feng Yu's relationship and status in the Li family, she wouldn't be able to maximize her benefit. Out of consideration for a businesswoman, Feng Yaoguang gave them a few days. This little girl is amazing. Her methods, strength, and intelligence are all very good. The Dragon Soul and the Dragon Teeth Dagger suddenly said, Is it really okay for you to use the tiger's skin like this? What's wrong with it? Feng Yu said casually. I didn't say that I'm the disciple of the Fire Martial Saint. I just explained my situation. If they misunderstand me and think that I'm the disciple of the Fire Martial Saint, I'll be in a difficult position. You, the Dragon Soul, was speechless. Chapter 88. Because Feng Yu really didn't say that he was the disciple of Hua the Martial Saint or anything. Everything was just the speculation of others. Therefore, if they really wanted to argue, could they say that Feng Yu was lying? No. It's just that I don't think this matter will end so easily. Feng Yu's voice became low. That's right, the black market convention was a gamble that the Zheng family and Tao family put everything on. If they succeeded, they would be glorious. If they lost, they would be consigned to eternal damnation. However, this time, even if they bribed the Dark Demon Martial King, they were still stopped by Ao Tian Martial King and Jinbao Tower. This meant that their many years of hard work had all been lost. However, who would be willing to be a loser? The curtains had not been drawn on this matter yet. We still have a bet we haven't lost yet. Zheng He said indifferently. He secretly followed but did not directly appear at the black market convention. People want face, trees want bark. They had always served the Li family. Even if the Li family was defeated, they couldn't openly appear in front of their master. However, Zheng He didn't expect things to take such a turn. The Dark Demon Martial King had failed. This kind of thing, not many people would believe it. This was the Dark Demon Martial King, not a small character. However, in front of the two top martial kings of the Black Market Alliance, the Dark Demon Martial King was not worth mentioning. Who would have thought that Fang Yu could get Ao Tian Martial King and Feng Yaoguang to take action and forcefully snipe this great situation? The failure of the black market convention caused the Zheng family and Tao family to lose everything. However, Zheng He wasn't prepared to accept his fate. Just as he said, they still had a bet and hadn't lost yet. I'll send 10 Dark Guard to you. Deal with this matter beautifully. Keep Fang Yu alive. If you can, don't kill him. The Dark Demon Martial King in the mirror said. This? Why? The Tao family representative was puzzled. The reason why they failed was greatly related to Fang Yu. Now, they said that they wouldn't kill Fang Yu. Is it possible? Humph. Are you questioning our sect leader? The Black Demon sect disciple was immediately unhappy. Let's not talk about how the sovereign's decision is something that a small fry like you can influence. Moreover, this brat Fang Yu seems to have some relationship with Martial King Ao Tianwu and the Treasure Pavilion. Although they haven't said anything, if you rashly kill him, then you will definitely invite trouble onto yourself. Your Tao family is incompetent and your eyesight is poor. Don't drag down my Black Demon sect. The Black Demon sect's people were not polite at all. This was because the one who had lost face today was not only the Black Demon Martial King, but also the entire Black Demon sect. However, they weren't idiots. They wouldn't blame Martial King Ao Tianwu or the treasure house. They could only blame it on the Zheng family and the Tao family. The Zheng family was more or less directly related to the Black Demon sect. Moreover, Zheng He's performance made it so that no one could find fault with him. Thus, they could only blame the Tao family. The Tao family's martial artist was furious. However, with the Black Demon Martial King and Zheng He here, it was simply not the turn of a small Tao family to be impudent. Yes, master. Zheng He was neither happy nor sorrowful. The Dark Guard was the elite force of the Black Demon sect. Every one of them had reached the Martial Grand Master realm. Although it was related to the secret technique that had forced them to become Martial Grand Masters through external forces, it was impossible for them to advance any further in their lives. However, 10 Dark Guard, 10 Martial Grand Masters, this kind of power would attract attention no matter where it was. Zheng He wouldn't expect too much. As for the Li family's martial spirit ancestor, the Black Demon Martial King mentioned the core of this matter. Do you have any ideas or methods? If not, I'll help you solve it. This was not within their previous agreement. Zheng He also did not take the initiative to mention it. The reason was very simple. It was very expensive for the Black Demon Martial King to make a move once. Zheng He might not be able to afford the price he asked for. Not to mention, this time, Zheng He was confident that he could cut the Gordian knot with a swift knife. Thus, Zheng He smiled and did not say anything. I didn't expect that a journey that would take several days would be completed in a day. Steward Chen was speechless at the speed of the thunderous flying boat. One had to know that there was a flaw in flying treasures, which was that many cities had arrays. If one was not careful, they would crash into the array. Thus, even if one had such a treasure, it was a big problem whether they could use it well. Only an existence like the Treasure Pavilion could have a thunderous flying boat and operate it freely. Since that's the case, we'll take our leave first. Alright, young Master Fang, will you go to the Great Dragon Lake by yourself or should we send someone to pick you up? The old man asked with a smile. Before he came, he had been specially instructed that Fang Yu was of great use to Feng Yaoguang, so he had to maintain a good relationship with him. Furthermore, to become a martial Grand Master before the age of 20, he was indeed a genius. In the future, it was very likely that he would officially join the Treasure Pavilion. No matter what the reason was, in short, it was necessary to maintain a good relationship with Fang Yu. Thank you. Fang Yu cupped his fists. Fang Yu, after this matter is settled, I'll go into seclusion. You and young Mistress Feng. Be careful, be careful. Li Qiuhong sighed as she watched the people from the Treasure Pavilion leave. I will. Fang Yu nodded and said with a chuckle, she won't eat me. What's there to be afraid of? I'm just afraid that she'll eat you. Didn't you see the look in her eyes? It was like a hungry ghost seeing food. You can't just leave the Li family behind, Li Shuiying said anxiously. Fang Yu did not know whether to laugh or cry. What the hell was going on? At most, he and Feng Yaoguang were partners. What else could they do? They were thinking too much. Steward Chen looked deeply at Fang Yu and did not say anything. He knew very well that Fang Yu was not a person who would stay in a small pond. In the future, it was only a matter of time before he soared to the top. At that time, the underground black market and the Li family would not be able to say anything. Not to mention, in their agreement with Fang Yu, it was stated that once Fang Yu became powerful in the future, he would be able to leave as he wished. If it wasn't a close relationship and only benefits and friendship, the Li family would not be able to raise a dragon like Fang Yu. Steward Chen felt that it was a pity. In terms of benefits, could the Li family offer a higher price than the treasure pavilion? As for friendship, Fang Yu's relationship with the two young mistresses was not bad, but it was only good. There was nothing more than that. Feng Yaoguang and Fang Yu would be together for an entire year. It was hard to say whether their relationship would develop. Why don't we let Fang Yu talk to one of the young mistresses about love first? Anyway, Fang Yu is a loyal and righteous person. He would definitely be a good match. Steward Chen was still imagining the plot of Fang Yu and the young mistresses when a small head of the black market rushed over. First young mistress, second young mistress, Steward Chen. Something bad has happened. The person panted and said hurriedly, the black market is in chaos. Chapter 89. What? Speak clearly. Steward Chen asked hurriedly. Last night, the black market suddenly went on a rampage. The demon beasts, prisoners, and prisoners on death row were all released. Some of the partners from the barbarian tribe and other places betrayed them without any warning and joined them to cause a ruckus. The person summarized the situation neatly. It's the Zheng family. Li Qiuhong's face darkened. Although she knew that the Zheng family would not let this matter rest and would not give up the benefits that they had obtained, she definitely did not expect the Zheng family to react so quickly and come up with a countermeasure. Let's go. Without another word, Fang Yu gestured for them to return first. Haha, kill, kill, kill. Leave the women behind. Humph. They treated us like pigs and dogs and killed us. How cruel. Isn't that right? We may have done something wrong, but how can we change if they don't give us a chance? A group of prisoners and prisoners on death row were smashing and looting in the underground black market. They even killed many passers-by. You bunch of scum? Go to hell. The underground black market also mobilized their forces. Guards were sent to various places to deal with the disturbances. Unfortunately, their actions seemed to be targeted. Although they killed many ungrateful fellows, a large number of prisoners on death row were still transferred in advance. Their punches landed on the corners of the city, infuriating them. The situation doesn't look good. Fang Yu and the others returned to the Li family. After understanding the basic situation, they all looked terrible. Obviously, these prisoners and prisoners on death row were arranged by someone. Otherwise, why would they be transferred in such a regular manner? The Zheng family and the Tao family, Fang Yu muttered to himself. Feng Yaoguang had requested to meet up in a few days. He wanted to take revenge on the Zheng family and the Tao family. It wasn't a simple matter. However, now that the Zheng family and the Tao family took the initiative to rush to their doorstep, they couldn't blame him. Gather the guards first. Activate the small arrays in every shop and wait for our men to come to their aid. Continue to monitor the movements of the prisoners and prisoners. As for the demonic beasts, just rush back to the Colosseum. Li Qiuhong made various judgments. Since the other party had come prepared, they would not be able to gain any advantage if they continued to attack recklessly. Therefore, if the enemy does not move, I will not move. The first step was to pacify the various shops in the underground black market. Then, the cannon fodders were all cleaned up. After that, it was time to prepare for the final battle. Zheng He was ambitious and ambitious. It would not be easy to get rid of him. I'm going out with some people, Fang Yu said. The addition of a martial Grand Master was extremely important to the current situation. Steward Chen pondered for a while and nodded. Fang Yu was no longer the young brat he was back then. As a martial Grand Master, he would be a cornerstone wherever he went. He had to protect the two young misses and couldn't leave. It was best if Fang Yu made a move. Send a team of guards to follow him, Steward Chen instructed. Fang Yu's individual combat ability was very strong, and a group of guards was enough. If there were too many people, it would affect Fang Yu's performance. Steward Chen also understood that after Fang Yu became a martial Grand Master, the number of times he fought was not many. There was a big difference between a martial Grand Master, a martial master, and a martial artist. Even if he understood, he still had to go through a lot of real battles to understand the mysteries of a martial Grand Master. You guys don't come over. Looking at the approaching prisoners, the young girl on the ground trembled. She was originally a young miss from a small town near Skylight City. She had followed her family's elders to gain experience. In the end, the underground black market suddenly became chaotic and her elders were killed. She hid for a night but was still not able to hide and was discovered. If we don't come over, how can we love you? Don't you think so? One of the prisoners looked at the girl's figure and was almost drooling. They were sent to the Colosseum to fight to the death. In the end, there was a high probability that they would still die. Such a life was meaningless, all right? It was much better to kill and set fire outside. We are all very gentle. Don't be afraid, don't be afraid. Yes. Wait until we've had our fun, then we'll kill you. Then you won't feel pain anymore, right? Come on, little baby. A few of them unbuckled their belts and pounced on her. Swoosh. Suddenly, a ray of light flashed past. Heavenly sunrise. Fang Yu slashed out with his saber. Instantly, 6 heads flew into the air. Plop, plop, the heads fell to the ground one after another. Fang Yu did not even look at the headless corpses. He looked directly at the shocked prisoners and said, "Execute them on the spot." Yes. Upon receiving the order, the guards carried out Fang Yu's order without hesitation. The guards of the underground black market could be said to be very famous. Every time a prisoner was sent over, the guards would go forward to hand over the prisoners. So far, there had not been any failures. Therefore, the prisoners had a natural fear of the guards. Yes, it's the guards. Run. Run quickly. Why run? We have more people. The black market's guards killed the prisoners mercilessly. Although the prisoners were ferocious and had a certain level of strength, they were still not enough to deal with the guards who were armed to the teeth. You guys deal with the prisoners here. I'll go take a look around, Fang Yu said. Of course, the guards had no objection to this. Although Fang Yu was young and was a leader who came out of nowhere, they had seen Fang Yu's ability clearly. It was not impossible for this person to reach the martial spirit realm. They had always been in awe of such a person. Ding. Congratulations to the host for killing a fugitive. You have gained 500 experience points. Ding. Congratulations to the host for killing a fugitive. You have gained 700 experience points. Ding. Congratulations to the host for killing a fugitive. You have gained 300 experience points. Fang Yu chased after them all the way and blocked the escape route of this group of fugitives. He handed those who were not strong enough to the guards. Although the guards were well trained, there were too many fugitives. Moreover, the fugitives were divided into ordinary prisoners and death row prisoners. Under normal circumstances, ordinary prisoners would be released after 30 to 50 years of imprisonment or 20 to 30 years of hard work. Although the crimes they had committed were not small, the harm was limited. In the end, they were spared. Being sent to the underground Colosseum was also negotiated. Compared to sitting there for decades, it was better to take a gamble. Perhaps there was a chance to get out earlier. Death row prisoners, on the other hand, had done something that angered the heavens and caused a bad influence. They had to be executed without discussion. However, the underground black market used their connections to change the location of their execution to the Colosseum. Fang Yu chose to start from here because he had received news that there was a prison bully here. Chapter 90. Prison Tyrant was literally the boss of a prison. In other words, he was the most powerful person in the prison. Otherwise, he would not have been able to hold the position of a prison tyrant. The prisoners on death row in the underground animal fighting arena were locked up in different prisons before they were released. Every prison had a boss, and the boss of the bosses was the prison tyrant. The prison tyrant could even receive special treatment. This was because the prison tyrant's strength had broken through to the martial grandmaster level. The weakest prison tyrant in history was also a martial grandmaster, similar to the Jing family's Tu Lao. However, the prison tyrants were too dangerous. The cruel things they had done made people shudder. Normally, the prison tyrant was looked after by the Li family's martial grandmasters. There were not many martial grandmasters, and the price was very high. Even the Li family, the king of the underground black market, could not afford to look after more than one at the same time. There were only 2 or 3 of them. However, due to the sudden situation, the entire underground black market was in chaos. The 2 and 3 martial grandmaster consecrators naturally had to guard a few important places. For a moment, they neglected the bestial battle arena prison where Yu Bao was locked up. However, after the prison tyrant escaped, he did not leave immediately. Instead, he started to loot and burn the place. The reason was obvious. Is it the Tao family and the Jing family? Fang Yu's face darkened. The Li family had been in power for a long time, and many of the people under them had been unable to take a step forward. As time passed, they would start to have strange ideas. If the Jing family ascended to the top and became the leader of the clan, then they, who had followed the lead, would have the merit of helping the dragon rise. They did not dare to dream of becoming the king of the Li family, but they could dream of becoming the king of the Jing family. Therefore, it was not surprising that there were people who cooperated with the Jing family. Hee, why are you here? I thought it would be Steward Chen. Suddenly, a strange laughter rang in Fang Yu's ears. Whoosh! Fang Yu did not hesitate and slashed. However, the slash did not touch anyone. Prison tyrant? Wang Tianba? Fang Yu said as he looked at the figure that was gradually condensing. It's me. Wang Tianba laughed strangely. I say, aren't you looking down on people too much? They actually sent a brat like you to deal with me, Wang Tianba? You are still too inexperienced. Super Slaughter System, what is my current experience value? Host's current experience is 245,003,0000. Fang Yu remained silent. The Super Slaughter System had an additional bonus for killing some violent people, and the experience gained was even more. Then, there was the level of the target that was killed. Prison Overlord Wang Tianba was a genuine martial Grand Master. Furthermore, to be able to become a prison overlord, he was the best representative of evil. If he killed Wang Tianba, it would not be impossible for him to raise his cultivation to a 3-star martial Grand Master. However, Wang Tianba is not simple. His cultivation technique is somewhat strange. Fang Yu secretly sized up Wang Tianba. This person is clearly a living person, but he gives off a gloomy feeling like a dead person. This is a ghost cultivation technique, How rare. The dragon's soul suddenly spoke. Ghost cultivation? Yes, ghost cultivation. The dragon's soul and Fang Yu asked and answered. You should know that there are many creatures in the myriad spirit continent, right? Spectral cultivators originate from a race of creatures known as ghosts. They are not complete ghosts, but their life forms are somewhat different from ordinary creatures. This kind of difference was researched by some almighty figures, and they formed their own sect, which was known as the Ghost Cultivators. The dragon's soul spoke with assurance. In my opinion, ghost cultivation is not very strong. They are just strange and not easy to kill. If you find a way to restrain them, they will be very weak. If you don't have a way to restrain them, even if you are a realm higher than them, it will still be difficult to kill them. Fang Yu clicked his tongue in wonder and thought, the dragon's soul looks sloppy and unreliable. I didn't expect it to know so much. Kid, what's wrong with your eyes? No matter what, I am still a holy dragon. The dragon's soul noticed Fang Yu's gaze and said unhappily, Yes. Then what method do you have to deal with him? Fang Yu was too lazy to bicker with the dragon soul, and went straight to the point. This is simple. The dragon roar of the dragon race is noble and sacred. It can intimidate heaven and earth. All demons and ghosts must retreat. The dragon soul said excitedly, When you attack, I can activate the dragon teeth blade and release the dragon roar. Then you will be able to catch his body. Although ghost cultivation is strange, when their body is caught, it is equivalent to their greatest weakness being exposed. It is a great opportunity to kill him. Alright. Fang Yu did not say anything and attacked with his blade. Humph! Another damned short-lived bastard. Wang Tianba looked at the incoming Fang Yu and felt that it was funny. Although ghost cultivation was not a secret, it was indeed mysterious. Most martial artists did not know that as long as ghost cultivation did not reveal their body, any attack would cause little damage to them. On the other hand, ghost cultivation could catch the opponent off guard. Because of this, Wang Tianba constantly counterattacked and used evil techniques to refine powerful opponent. Step by step, he reached the martial Grand Master realm. It was a pity that ghost cultivators had very high requirements for cultivation technique. Wang Tianba's cultivation technique was incomplete and was not even at the profound grade. Cultivating to the martial Grand Master level was his limit. There was no hope for him to become a martial spirit. This was the difference between ghost cultivation and ordinary martial artists. After all, they were not real ghost race people and had to rely on cultivation technique. But as long as you can't catch my body, I am invincible among my peers. Wang Tianba was full of confidence. If the one who came was Steward Chen, he would not dare to be so arrogant. Because Steward Chen was experienced and knowledgeable, he even knew how to restrain ghost cultivation. However, Fang Yu was young and had never seen him before. So what if he was a martial Grand Master? He would still become a ghost under his blade. Die for me! Wang Tianba roared and raised his blood-red dagger. He was about to stab Fang Yu in between his eyebrows. Fang Yu's expression did not change. The dragon-teeth dagger in his hand emitted a holy sound. *1. The sound was soft and caused ripples on the surface of Wang Tianba's body. *Xio. Following that, Fang Yu swung his dagger. Wang Tianba realized that he was getting higher and higher. Below him, Fang Yu slowly withdrew his dagger and did not even look at him. Bang. In the next moment, Wang Tianba's headless corpse fell to the ground, raising a cloud of dust. Ding! Congratulations to host for killing ghost cultivation, Wang Tianba. You have received 6,000 experience points. Ding! Congratulations to host for leveling up. You are now a 3-star martial Grand Master. Current experience points: 305, 004, 0000. Ding! Congratulations to host for completing the life achievement mission, killing a martial grandmaster. You are randomly rewarded with a cultivation technique. Ding! Congratulations to host for obtaining the Xian level cultivation technique, Ghost King Arts. A series of system notifications rang out. Fang Yu remained calm. He had gradually gotten used to the power of the super slaughter system. However, when it came to the reward of a cultivation technique, he could not help but raise his eyebrows. Ghost King Arts. Chapter 91. Ding! Ghost King Art Black Level Upper Grade. Cultivator will have the characteristics of the Ghost Clan and become a half-ghost. The Super Slaughter system kept explaining the effects of the Ghost King Art. Fang Yu was silent. In fact, there was a certain relationship between cultivation techniques and a martial artist's cultivation. For example, the Earth level, Black level, and Yellow level below the Heaven level had a total of 3 levels and 9 grade. The Ghost King Art was a Black level upper grade. It meant that when one cultivated to the Martial Emperor level, it would have an additional effect. However, after the Martial Emperor level was the Martial Ancestor level, the Ghost King Art would not be of any use. The cultivation speed would become very slow. Fang Yu was only cultivating the first 3 levels of the Mysterious Heaven technique, which could only be cultivated to the Martial Grandmaster level. After reaching the Martial Spirit level, it would be useless. Should I cultivate the Ghost King Art instead? Fang Yu hesitated. He asked himself honestly, he did not want to become a half-ghost. Kid, what's wrong? Seeing Fang Yu in a daze, the dragon soul asked curiously. It knew that this kid had many secrets. That was why Fang Yu would be in a daze from time to time. However, the dragon soul did not know what the secret was. I have a cultivation technique called the Ghost King Art. It's a black level upper grade, Fang Yu explained. Oh, I see. Hearing this, the dragon soul said disdainfully, Kid, aren't you going to the 4 academies? In places like the 4 academies, there are many powerful cultivation techniques. Black level upper grade ones are everywhere. In fact, cultivation techniques are rare, but most people can't cultivate to the upper limit of the cultivation technique. For example, the Ghost King Art can be cultivated to the Martial Emperor level. Do you think there are many Martial Emperors? Fang Yu shook his head. Although there were not many martial emperors, it mainly depended on where they were. However, for a martial emperor to be called a martial emperor meant that they were extraordinary. Even in the 4 academies, there were not many martial emperor level instructors. Besides, when you really get in, you can just use the Ghost King Art to exchange for other cultivation techniques. I see that you're cultivating the Tang Sect's Mysterious Heaven technique, right? The dragon soul said with a smile. What? I can even exchange for the Mysterious Heaven technique? Isn't that something from the Tang sect? Fang Yu was a little confused. The Tang sect has experienced great changes in the past, and many scriptures and cultivation techniques have been leaked out. The 4 great academies have naturally obtained some of these chapters. In this case, it's not strange for them to exchange some of these chapters with each other. I've heard a little about the Ghost King Arts you mentioned. It's a good thing. Exchanging it for the 4th, 5th, and 6th levels of the Mysterious Heaven method should be possible. The dragon's soul carefully analyzed. Fang Yu felt relieved. I didn't expect you to know so much. Show me some respect. I'm a holy dragon. The dragon's soul expressed its dissatisfaction. Didn't this person know how to respect his seniors? Fang Yu chuckled. What? District 1 East had fallen? Was it taken over by the guards? What's going on? The Tao family martial artist stood in front of a middle-aged man, silent. You say it. The man in the lead pointed out a person. Reporting to family head, the prison overlord, Wang Tianba, was in charge of the Eastern District. Now that the Eastern District has fallen, Wang Tianba might have fallen. This person reported truthfully. Wang Tianba has fallen? He's a martial grandmaster. The middle-aged man was furious. Speaking of which, we were the ones who assigned Wang Tianba to the Eastern District. Now that he's dead, the Eastern District has fallen. How are we going to explain this to the Jing family? Hearing this, many of the Tao family disciples were disdainful. They were the dignified Tao family. Why would they have to explain this to the Jing family? The Tao family and the Jing family were in-laws. They were on equal footing. There was no reason for them to be inferior. Seeing this, the middle-aged man could not vent his anger. Why were there so many useless people in the Tao family? Has Yuqing been sent away? The middle-aged man changed the topic and asked. Eldest young master has been sent away in the name of training. At the same time, he took away 1/3 of the Tao family's resources. An old servant stepped forward and said. After that, he asked hesitantly, Master, we have a high chance of winning this time. Why did you send eldest young master away? He's only half a step away from becoming a martial grandmaster. He's very powerful. There's no need to say more about this. The middle-aged man said decisively. Yuqing's talent is above mine. If someone like me can become a 3-star martial grandmaster, there's no way Yuqing can't do it. However, this war is a true war of extermination. If the Li family doesn't die, then we and the Jing family will be exterminated. Even if we have the help of the Black Demon sect and the reinforcements Jing he secretly invited, we still can't let down our guard. He was one of the few smart people in the Tao family. Unfortunately, he had too many useless teammates. He couldn't bring them along. For example, after attacking the Li family, he had captured their 2 young ladies and made them Tao Yuqing's concubines. He really didn't know which bastard had suggested it. If one didn't remove the roots when cutting weeds, they would grow again when the spring breeze blew. They even wanted them to give birth to children for the Tao family? He didn't dare to keep such a ticking time bomb by his side. It was these brainless bastards who dared to think about it. Therefore, he made a decision. He would send Tao Yuqing away and kill the person who had suggested it as a warning to others. In this war of extermination, it's either you die or I die. Only if we win can we become rich and powerful. If we lose, our Tao family will probably be uprooted. The middle-aged man chuckled. The ruthlessness in his words made one shiver. Don't we have the help of the 3 great families? Since that's the case, we should be able to sit on the fishing platform. A man of similar age asked. He was the Tao family's great elder. The 3 great families, Let's not talk about the Lin family and the Zhang family's attitude. Don't you know what kind of person Fang Zhao is? They aren't good people. We can have them help us take care of the small matters, but it's impossible for them to do everything they can to overthrow the Li family unless we can pay the majority of the price. But if we do that, won't we still get some benefits? The middle-aged man sneered. In short, our Tao family will bet everything on this war. If we succeed, we'll be able to bring Yu Qingfeng back in glory. If we fail, at least we'll leave behind some descendants. At least our bloodline won't truly be cut off. The Tao family's great elder opened his mouth. He wanted to ask if he could send his son and daughter away, but when he met the patriarch's cold gaze, he didn't dare to speak. In any case, it's a matter of these 2 days. Everyone, do your best. If we succeed, even if someone dies, I'll compensate them tenfold. From now on, the family will be responsible for the cultivation resources. I Tao Tian am a man of my word. You should all know that. The middle-aged man let out a long sigh. Everyone silently nodded. The patriarch of the Tao family, Tao Tian, was a man of his word. Everyone could see that he was a man of his word. If he said he would take responsibility, he would take responsibility. Let's go to the first eastern region to take a look. If they can kill Wang Tianba, they should be a powerful force. We can't let the Li family start a counterattack. Tao Tian looked toward the first eastern region and stood with his hands behind his back. Chapter 92. Consecrator Fong, the fugitives have all been cleared out. The captain of the guards reported to Fong Yu. Good. Fong Yu nodded. You can split the things that the fugitives brought. Hearing this, the captain of the guards was overjoyed. Usually, the guards would split the loot with the leader in half. Especially the consecrators of the Li family, they would be given 60% or more. Because the famous consecrators of the Li family were all martial grandmasters. In terms of strength and status, the guards did not dare to disobey them. Now that Fong Yu was going to give them everything, it would be a lie to say that it was not happy. It's rare for you to be so generous. The dragon soul asked suspiciously. It knew that Fong Yu was not a stingy person, but this kid was also not someone who would be generous for no reason. There must be something wrong when things are out of the ordinary. I'm afraid there will be a big battle later. It's just a little bit of loot that can boost morale. It's worth it. Fong Yu replied. Ding. Revenge mission. Revenge mission? Fong Yu's heart immediately leaped to his throat. If there was any hatred or enemies that Fong Yu had, it could only be the Tao family and the Jing family. You have killed the head of the Tao family, Tao Tian. Reward, 100. 0 slaughter points. Fong Yu did not move at all. The head of the Tao family, Tao Tian, was one of the murderers that killed his mother. For such a person, even if there was no reward, Fong Yu would kill him, let alone the super slaughter system's mission. Oh! Sensing Fong Yu's murderous aura, the dragon soul suddenly trembled with fear. What's going on? This kid is just a martial grandmaster. Even though he's a 3-star martial grandmaster, so what? I'm the holy dragon that fought 4 martial grandmasters alone. Why do I have such inexplicable palpitations? This is so strange. Just as the dragon's soul finished thinking, it felt that something was wrong. The dragon teeth dagger was turning red. Fong Yu's emotions affected the dragon teeth knife. This knife, this old dragon king's tooth, became angry. The dragon's soul was dumbfounded. There was such a thing? His synchronization with the dragon teeth dagger has reached this level? It can't be. The dragon's soul was shocked. Normally speaking, the more powerful a spirit weapon was, the harder it was to completely refine it and synchronize it with oneself, unless an elder took action and forcefully refined it. However, in this way, it would be an indirect help from an elder. It couldn't be said that he had refined it himself, but there would definitely be some flaws. The problem was, who would want to have a spirit artifact for their entire life? Therefore, a flaw was a flaw. As long as it wasn't a big problem, he could accept it. But a saber forged from the Dragon Emperor's Fang can be used for a lifetime. The dragon's soul was flustered. What kind of master did it follow? Reporting. A figure appeared 1,000 meters away. Reporting. The person who came should be a Tao family martial artist. Reporting. The head of the Tao family, Tao Tian, has come in person. A series of news came, and some of the guards' expressions changed. The head of the Tao family, Tao Tian, was a great martial master. Although there were many mediocre people in this generation of the Tao family, Tao Tian's ability and talent were undeniable. If it weren't for the fact that they had too many useless teammates, they might have been able to form a marriage alliance with the Fang family and spend more than 10 years to replace the Zhang family or the Lin family to become one of the 3 major families in Skylight City. However, if the Tao family and the Jing family's conspiracy succeeded this time and toppled the king of the underground black market, the Li family, the benefits they would gain would undoubtedly exceed becoming one of the 3 major families. Therefore, in such a battle, everyone was giving their all. Those who cherished their lives had died early. Prepare for battle. Fong Yu roared. Yes, Master Fong. The morale of the people who had just gained was greatly boosted. It's Fong Yu leading the team? Knowing that it was Fong Yu in front, Tao Tian couldn't help but frown. Fong Yu. Fong Yi's son. Back then, He had mobilized all the chess pieces hidden in the Fong family, but they could only take Fong Yi's life. Instead, Fong Yu had survived. Who would have thought that after so many years, Fong Yu would become a great martial master before the age of 20? He even persuaded the Ao Tian Martial King and the Zhenbao Tower to help stop the Black Demon Martial King. If not for that, things wouldn't have been so complicated. Yes, it's Fong Yu. He brought a team of guards and killed the prison overlord, Wang Tianba, with his own hands. The spy reported. Wang Tianba is a ghostly cultivator and his methods are mysterious. He has been a ghostly cultivator for quite some time now. Even if he hasn't broken through to become a 2-star martial master, he's still not a normal great martial master. This Fong Yu, we have to be careful. Tao Tian quickly made a decision. First elder, second elder, both of you will join me to kill Fong Yu. The rest of you will follow third elder and the prisoners nearby to take care of the guards. Although the guards were powerful, they were not without flaws. They relied more on a method called battle formation. However, no matter how powerful the battle formation was, there would always be a limit. As long as they had enough people, the battle formation would naturally be broken. Tao Tian was clear about the level of the Tao family's martial artists. Therefore, before coming, he had gathered a group of fugitives. They were fugitives and cannon fodder. These dregs, whether they succeeded or failed, would be dealt with. In that case, they might as well die for us. At the very least, if they died for them, they might be merciful and let go of the last few lucky ones. If they didn't even want to try, then they would be executed on the spot. Go! When the two sides were 100 feet apart, Tao Tian took the initiative to attack. They must end the battle quickly and not drag it out. After all, Fong Yu was young and impetuous. Once the battle dragged on, he would only become more and more courageous. The older they were, the more timid they became. If they continued to fight, they might even be at a disadvantage. Therefore, they had to execute a decapitation operation. First, they had to kill Fong Yu and the situation would be settled. Oh? Fong Yu saw that the other party was coming for him and they were preparing to separate him from the guards in an attempt to besiege him. Kid, don't be arrogant. These guys are not simple. The dragon's soul reminded. It's fine. I was just about to measure my strength and see what level I am at. Fong Yu was eager to give it a try. To be honest, he had not tried to fight with all his strength recently. He really wanted to know what level his strength had reached. Instead of running away, he took the initiative to come forward. Fong Yi's son is much more powerful than her husband, Tao Tian said with a smile. These words were half true and half false. The false part was of course the bragging part. The true part was that Fong Yu was so bold that it was really shocking. Husband? I am Fong Yi's son. Fong Zhao might not be her husband. Fong Yu denied indifferently. Chapter 93. Oh! Tao Tian was stunned. Fong Yu's answer was different from what he had expected. After all, as Fong Zhao's son, even if he was an illegitimate son, his starting point was higher than ordinary martial artists. Could it be that Fong Yu was still dissatisfied with something? Fong Yu, who seemed to have seen through Tao Tian's doubts, smiled and said, "You may want to be Fong Zhao's son, but I don't. You have a sharp tongue." First elder. Tao Tian signaled for the first elder to attack. Understood. The Tao family's first elder did not say anything else and charged toward Fong Yu. He was a peak martial master, and had once had the chance to reach the martial Grand Master realm. Unfortunately, there was a limit to one's strength and he was one step behind. However, compared to ordinary martial grandmasters, the Tao family's first elder's battle prowess could be said to be quite extraordinary. After all, he had reached the threshold of martial Grand Master. If it was someone else, they might not even have the chance to reach the martial Grand Master realm in their lifetime. Second elder. Tao Tian took the opportunity to give an order. They were not here to fight Fang Yu one-on-one. He wanted to use this opportunity to kill Fang Yu and eliminate the hidden danger. Fang Yu is even more terrifying than I imagined. If we give him one more year, no, half a year, the three of us might not be able to deal with him. Tao Tian, who had sensed Fang Yu's vigorous aura, thought so. Of course, Tao Tian, who had realized this, did not really treat the first elder and second elder as the key to killing Fang Yu. The key to this battle was still him, a 3-star martial Grand Master. However, the battle with the Li family had just begun, and he could not be easily injured. Therefore, he still let the first elder and second elder exhaust Fang Yu while he looked for an opportunity to kill him in one strike. The Tao family's intention could not be considered a conspiracy, but an open one. They were just short of directly telling Fang Yu. He did not know whether to laugh or cry. "I'm really being looked down upon," Fang Yu smiled helplessly. "Two old farts, a matter of one strike." The dragon soul didn't care at all. That's right, others might not know how capable Fang Yu was, but how could it not? If Fang Yu were still a 1-star martial grandmaster, he might have felt some pressure against the Tao clan's first elder and second elder. No matter what, touching the threshold of a martial grand master and not touching it were two different concepts. For example, the third elder of the Fang clan back then. Putting aside martial arts, spirit weapons, and other factors, his overall strength was above the current Li Qiuhong. This was because Li Qiuhong had yet to reach the threshold of a martial grand master. The Fang clan's third elder had made slow progress over the years, but he had truly touched upon this realm. There was a huge difference between the two. If it wasn't for Fang Yu's continuous use of drugs, perhaps he wouldn't have been able to defeat the cunning third elder of the Fang clan. "I'm no longer who I was back then. I don't need the assistance of medicinal pills to display the strength of a martial grand master." Striking after striking, Fang Yu's aura suddenly retracted, startling the Tao family's first elder and second elder. Originally, Fang Yu's aura was vigorous like the morning sun, causing them to not dare to act rashly. Now, Fang Yu was like the sun that had suddenly been covered by the sky, losing its light. He was clearly still there, but they couldn't sense his existence. There must be a reason for this abnormality. Although the Tao family's first elder and second elder were restricted by their talent, they had a lot of experience fighting enemies after so many years. Fang Yu's sudden change was definitely fishy. "Let's go." The Tao family's first elder and second elder didn't say anything else and retreated. As long as they met up with the Tao family's head, Tao Tian, with the strength of the three of them, no matter how strong Fang Yu was, he wouldn't be able to do anything to them. "You want to leave now? It's too late." Fang Yu's eyes suddenly widened. The dragon teeth saber was like a flying dragon as it flew out, cutting the Tao family's first elder and second elder in half. "Family head, save me, save us! Family head, save us!" The Tao family's first elder and second elder hurriedly cried for help when they saw themselves being cut in half. They knew that such injuries could be extended with elixirs and miraculous medicines. Later on, they could ask Dr. Sacred Hands to save them, and they would definitely be safe. Now, all that was left was to see if Tao Tian was willing to save them. "You did it on purpose?" Tao Tian was silent for a moment before asking. "That's right." He could tell that since Fang Yu had such capabilities, it wouldn't be difficult for him to kill the Tao family's first elder and second elder in one go. However, Fang Yu didn't kill them. He gave the Tao family's first elder and second elder a chance of survival. Although they would still be living a life worse than death if they survived in such a state, they were still alive. Now, the one who would decide whether they would die or live a life worse than death wasn't Fang Yu, but Tao Tian. Fang Yu did it on purpose. So what if I did it on purpose? Don't be long-winded. Save them or watch them die. The decision isn't up to me, it's up to you. Fong Yu said with a smile. TSK brat, you really know how to kill people. The dragon's soul couldn't help but glance at Fong Yu. In such a dilemma, if Tao Tian saved them, he would expose a flaw. Whether or not he would be killed by Fong Yu in one strike was a problem. If he didn't save them, they were the first elder and second elder of the family. Was it really okay to not save them? Therefore, the current situation had become somewhat complicated. Boom! Boom! However, Tao Tian's choice caused Fong Yu's pupils to shrink. He had actually casually blasted apart the Tao family's first elder and second elder's heads. Useless things. Usually, when you eat and drink in the Tao family, I turn a blind eye to it. Now, you can't even be used to kill a junior. What's the point of having you? Anyway, whether I succeed or fail this time, I will change the Tao family's blood. Even if you die early, it's no big deal. Tao Tian said calmly, explaining to the two headless corpses why he had killed them. The Tao family now couldn't even fend for themselves. If they couldn't overthrow the Li family, the entire Tao family would be implicated. Even if Tao Tian had medicine, it was to save lives and not to save useless people. That's quite ruthless. Fong Yu commented. If a man isn't ruthless, he won't be able to stand firm. Not many of the leaders of the major forces are easy to deal with, right? Tao Tian chuckled and said, You, on the other hand, have really opened my eyes. When the first elder and second elder join forces, we can even fight a weaker martial grandmaster. We might even be able to kill the opponent if we use all our skills. But for you, it's like killing a chicken or a dog. It really makes one sigh. If you replace Fong Zhao as the head of the Fong family, in a few decades, the Fong family might be the only one in Skylight City. After a pause, Tao Tian continued. Although his son, Tao Yuqing, had good potential, there was a huge difference between good and genius. Fong Yu was a genius, and his achievements in this life would not be limited to being a martial grandmaster. Killing a chicken or a dog. Actually, killing you is also killing a chicken or a dog. Fong Yu said casually. Oh, is that so? Then I'll have to give it a try. After saying that, Tao Tian suddenly became ruthless. This head of the Tao family was finally serious. Chapter 94. What's the situation now? Report back quickly. Report. Wang Tianba of the Eastern District has been killed. All fugitives have been executed on the spot. Wang Tianba of the Eastern District has been killed? He's a martial grandmaster. Li Qiuhong was in charge of the Li family. She was shocked when she heard that Wang Tianba had been killed. It was true that Wang Tianba was a vicious person, but at the same time, he was the money tree of the underground beast fighting arena. Therefore, Li Qiuhong and the rest knew how strong Wang Tianba was. That was why they hesitated when Fong Yu suggested going to the Eastern District. However, Steward Chen made the decision to let Fong Yu try. Now that Fong Yu had really killed Wang Tianba, it would be a lie if they said that they weren't surprised and happy. Little friend Fong's strength speaks for itself. Otherwise, Feng Yaoguang wouldn't have invited him. What a pity. Steward Chen sighed. The Li family couldn't keep Fong Yu, this dragon, in the current situation. I will enter the 4 great academies. I won't fall behind Fong Yu, Li Qiuhong said solemnly. She had outstanding talent in martial art. In the future, she might not be weaker than Fong Yu. Me too. Me too. Li Shuiying didn't want to be outdone. I will also become stronger. Very, very strong. When the time comes, I want Fong Yu to enter the Li family and be our fighter for life. Looking at the two sisters' serious and excited expressions, Steward Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Moreover, according to the second miss, if she wanted Fong Yu to enter the Li family for life, wouldn't she and Fong Yu have to? If it can come true, it will be a good story. Steward Chen couldn't help but think. Urgent report, urgent report. The head of the Tao family, Tao Tian, led the first elder, second elder, and third elder to the eastern district. They are now fighting with consecrated Fong. The new news caused Li Qiuhong's face to turn pale. The Tao family's patriarch, Tao Tian, as well as the Tao family's first elder, second elder, and third elder, wouldn't that make up the majority of the Tao family's combat strength? They actually chose to besiege the East First District and attack Fong Yu? It must be Tao Tian's idea, Steward Chen frowned. Tao Tian is different from Zheng He. Zheng He's excellence is obvious to all. Tao Tian, on the other hand, is different. There are too many people in the Tao family who are just waiting to die, making the Tao family look weak. In fact, that's not the case. When it comes to grand plans, Tao Tian isn't inferior to Zheng He. The difference is that the Zheng family has followed us for many years, and they have been licking their wounds in the black market. The Zheng family members who have been able to survive until now won't drag us down. The world has underestimated Tao Tian too much. We are the same. We didn't expect them to be so bold as to turn out in full force to kill Fong Yu at such a critical juncture. As he spoke, Steward Chen also became worried. If something happened to Fong Yu, it would be a huge blow to the Li family. Send 3 teams of guards to support Fong Yu. Li Qiuhong made a prompt decision. 3 groups of guards meant that there were dozens of people in total. Dozens of powerful martial masters. Even a martial grand master might not be able to survive if they encountered them. Of course, if they wanted to rely on a bunch of martial masters to kill a martial grand master, they would have to pay a heavy price. However, for Fong Yu, Li Qiuhong was willing to pay this price. She was willing to try. Clang, the dragon-tooth blade slashed across Tao Tian's body, but it didn't manage to cut him in half. It only left an obvious blood-red scar. He's a body-refining martial artist? Fong Yu's expression changed. Body-refining martial artists, as the name implied, used the martial artist's body as a spirit weapon to forge and refine. In time, the strength of the body would reach a terrifying level, no less than a spirit weapon. Therefore, body-refining martial artists were also known as spirit weapons in human form. Fong Yu's slash just now was a coincidence. However, it was the first time that it couldn't take anything away from a martial artist's body. His body-refining technique is a little strange. He must have had some kind of fortuitous encounter. The Dragon Soul's tone was certain. If not, the dragon-tooth blade wouldn't have been able to break his defense. Body-refining techniques are very famous. In fact, they are the techniques of the various divine beasts, such as the dragon race and the giant mountain ape. The dragon soul muttered to itself. Of course, you're only a martial grand master now. The dragon-tooth blade can't use its true strength. A quasi-divine beast body refining technique is enough to block your attack. This Tao Tian isn't simple. I thought he had lost his mind and came here to die. I didn't expect him to have some tricks up his sleeve. After the shock, Fong Yu's expression returned to normal. He had encountered several opponents stronger than Tao Tian. The Fire Martial Sage, the Void Rat, the Demon Dragon Soul, and so on. Which one of them wasn't stronger than Tao Tian? Now, Tao Tian's body refining technique had only shocked Fong Yu. It wasn't to the point where he was afraid to move forward. You have to be careful. A body-refining martial artist is a divine weapon. One-on-one, there's nothing good to eat. The Dragon Soul solemnly reminded. Alright. Although Fong Yu said that, his attack didn't decrease. He attacked Tao Tian fiercely. Don't be afraid, just do it. Fong Yu's method was that simple. Moreover, the Super Slaughter system can give 100 slaughter points as a reward. This means that this person isn't simple. Fong Yu secretly thought. Pung. 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 Fong Yu's blade slashed on Tao Tian's body. It was like slashing on a rock. Other than leaving some marks, Tao Tian wasn't injured at all. And he might not be strong in body refining technique. There might be other factors. The dragon's soul seemed to have sensed something and said, "Look at his martial Dao aura. Isn't it a little different? It's a dark blue martial Dao aura." Fang Yu looked carefully and indeed found that Tao Tian's martial Dao aura was different from ordinary people. Martial Dao aura was divided into 7 colors: red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, and purple. They represented 7 different attributes. Although the world was big and full of strange things, there might not be only 7 types of martial Dao aura. For example, Fang Yu's martial Dao aura was the black devouring aura. However, this was the first time he had seen a dark blue defensive aura. Could it be a mutated aura? It can't be. The dragon's soul sucked in a breath of cold air. If it's really a mutated aura, then I can understand why you can't hurt him. Mutated aura? Fang Yu was stunned. He had never heard of such a thing before. Mutated aura means that the aura's power is stronger than ordinary aura. For example, Tao Tian cultivated some kind of body refining technique. Under the support of the defensive aura, his toughness can reach an unimaginable level. However, if it's a mutated aura, it can increase this foundation by several times. As the dragon's soul spoke, its expression changed. I estimate that his defensive ability has reached the level of a peak martial Grand Master. Chapter 95. A peak martial Grand Master. Are you joking? Fang Yu's expression changed. A peak martial Grand Master was a few levels lower than Fang Yu. Even if Fang Yu attacked with all his might, he might not be able to break through the defense of a peak martial Grand Master. Now the Dragon Soul was saying that Tao Tian's Fang Yu was a peak martial Grand Master. Was it really not joking? Do I look like I'm joking with you? This Tao Tian is really hiding his strength. The Dragon Soul could not help but roll its eyes. Who would have thought that there would be a person with a spiritual light mutation in this small skylight city? However, even if the spiritual light mutated and his abilities increased, his defense could not possibly reach the level of a peak martial Grand Master, right? Fang Yu could not help but ask. After all, not everyone had the super massacre system like him. Therefore, he did not believe that Tao Tian was so heaven-defying. You're underestimating the spiritual light mutation too much. Although the general direction of mutation is still defense, it might have given birth to some inexplicable changes. For example, I've seen a martial artist with a blue spiritual light mutation who developed the ability to absorb. When you threw a punch, more than half of it was absorbed, and the rest was defended by him. In this way, isn't his defense at the level of a peak martial Grand Master? The Dragon's Soul explained. It was also F***ed up. Skylight City was poor and remote, but each of them was more powerful than the other. This made it, the Divine Dragon, lose face, okay? Is it possible for me to break through his defense? Fang Yu asked. Since the Super Massacre system had issued a mission, Fang Yu could not just leave. Those who had killed his mother back then, he could not let any of them off. According to Tao Tian's performance, he was obviously one of the masterminds in the past. Asking Fang Yu to turn around and leave, saying that where there is life, there is hope. Was that even possible? Ding. Congratulations to the host for comprehending the way of Massacre +1. Fang Yu was stunned. Just now, he was furious that he couldn't kill Tao Tian in one go. He didn't expect that he would comprehend the Tao of slaughter. Everything was difficult at the beginning. It was already difficult to become a sage in the Saber Tao or the Sword Tao, not to mention a rare great Tao like the Massacre Tao. Ding. Congratulations to the host for completing the life achievement mission, self-enlightenment. Oh? Does my Saber Tao comprehension not count? My understanding of the way of the saber was based on the heavenly sun Saber Saint. It can't be said to be my own understanding. Life achievement missions have rewards, right? I remember there's a reward. Ding. The reward this time is that you can ask the system a question. Consult the system. Fang Yu pondered for a moment and said, "Then I want to ask you, how do you defeat Tao Tian?" Ding. The foundation of a martial artist was spiritual energy. The devouring spirit light can devour spirit energy to strengthen oneself. As long as we weaken the spirit energy in Tao Tian's body, he won't be able to use any martial arts, cultivation methods, or even martial spirit lights. Hearing this, Fang Yu suddenly understood. That's right, spiritual energy was the foundation of a martial artist. As long as he could solve the problem of spiritual energy, killing Tao Tian would be as easy as flipping his hand. However, Tao Tian's performance just now was far too shocking. Even Fang Yu lost his composure and didn't think of this solution. Now that the super slaughtering system mentioned it, Fang Yu was enlightened. Fang Yu, you can't win against me. Not just you, even Steward Chern and the leaders of the 3 clans can't hurt me, Tao Tian. Unless the Li family's ancestor Wu Ling makes a move, Tao Tian said with a smile. This was his trump card and he wouldn't easily show it to others. Because if everyone knew about it, how could it still be called a trump card? Therefore, anyone who saw him make a move like this was either dead or severely injured. Fang Yu was no exception. It's too early for you to be happy. Fang Yu raised his dragon tooth blade and pointed it at Tao Tian. Today, I will kill you, Tao Tian. Then why don't you try? Tao Tian laughed mockingly. His body tempering technique came from the mythical beast Northern Sea Tortoise clan. Although it was incomplete, he had coincidentally obtained a bottle of Northern Sea Tortoise's blood essence. The Northern Sea Tortoise's blood essence in the blood essence was very thin. However, Tao Tian's luck was not bad and he barely succeeded. In addition, he had the mutated spiritual energy that he was born with. Without the strength of a martial spirit, it was impossible to break through his defense. His opponents often didn't think so much. At most, they thought that Tao Tian practiced a body tempering technique. They didn't know that on top of the body tempering technique, Tao Tian also had the mutated spiritual energy. With the two complementing each other, it was impossible for a martial grand master to break through his defense. Northern Sea Tortoises are good at tempering their bodies. Right now, my body is as tough as the Northern Sea Tortoise's shell. Tao Tian was proud of himself. Fang Yu was still too young and inexperienced. This was Fang Yu's fatal weakness. Today, Fang Yu was going to pay a huge price for this weakness. Martial Dao Spiritual Light. Fang Yu closed in. This time, he didn't slash randomly. Instead, he condensed the martial Dao spiritual light and poured it into the dragon teeth blade. Black martial Dao spiritual light. Fang Yu, you brat, you actually have the mutated spiritual energy. The dragon soul was shocked. How many more F***king secrets does Fang Yu have? Could he be the reincarnation of a martial emperor? The dragon soul couldn't help but think. The more it thought, the more it felt that it was possible. If he wasn't the reincarnation of a martial emperor, how could Fang Yu be so abnormal and monstrous? It's useless, Yu-yo. Facing Fang Yu / Tao Tian smiled confidently. However, before he could finish, his gaze suddenly focused. This time, the place where the dragon teeth blade had slashed, the spiritual energy seemed to be sucked away by a vortex. This piece of flesh turned back into ordinary flesh. A flesh and blood body couldn't withstand a slash from the dragon teeth blade. Rip! Fresh blood rose along with the blade light. Fang Yu. Before Tao Tian could finish his words, he suddenly felt something sweet in his throat and spat out blood. Ha! Breaking the surface with a point, you slashed him. It's like a rubber ball with a hole. It's no longer as good as before. His body tempering technique was broken by you. The dragon soul laughed. Take advantage of his illness and kill him. Don't give him a chance to continue acting cool. Fang Yu didn't say much and chased after him with his blade. He had no reason to let Tao Tian leave here alive. Tao Tian's face was filled with fear. He never thought that his defense would be broken. What method did Fang Yu use to break his defense that was comparable to a peak martial grandmaster? This was impossible. However, before thinking about this problem, Tao Tian was even more clear that what he should consider was the problem of survival. After thinking about it, Tao Tian decisively ran away. Compared to his life, face and whatnot were not worth mentioning. In the end, just as Fang Yu wanted to chase after him, he was blocked by a few figures. The person who came was wearing a black robe and had a gloomy aura. He didn't feel like a living person. However, he was different from a ghost cultivator like Wang Tianba, who made people shudder. Chapter 96. This is a great martial master? Fang Yu said hesitantly. However, with so many great martial masters coming in one go, wasn't it too scary? 5 great martial masters, even an ordinary family might not have such power. Fang Yu glanced at the incoming people, and was not in a hurry to make a move. That was because there were too many great martial masters. Be careful, these guys are a little strange. The dragon's soul warned. They don't look like living people, but they're definitely not dead either. Similar to ghost cultivators? Fang Yu asked. No, they're not ghost cultivators. Ghost cultivators turn their bodies into ghosts. They're more like walking corpses, but the difference is that they're not dead yet. This is really strange. The dragon's soul muttered to itself for a while and said, Fang Yu, can you catch one for me to study? Fang Yu rolled his eyes at the dragon's soul, letting it experience it for itself. Tao Tian looked at the people in bewilderment. Dark Guard. The leader of the black-robed men spat out a few words with difficulty. We've been ordered to save you. Come with us. Alright. Tao Tian's eyes lit up. His body tempering technique had been broken by Fang Yu for some reason. If this continued, he would probably die. He didn't want to die here, so it was better to leave with the other party. Dark Guard? Fang Yu frowned. He didn't know about the Dark Guard, but the Black Demon sect knew about it. It's the Black Demon Martial King's people. They really don't give up. Fang Yu sneered. Although he knew that the Black Demon Martial King wouldn't allow the fat meat in his mouth to escape, it was really unexpected for him to send people to help so openly. 5 great martial masters, this is really a big deal. There might not only be 5 of them. Fang Yu's heart trembled. If there were more than 5 Dark Guard, the situation would be dangerous. Don't worry, kid. I've finally figured it out. They are actually using the corpse refining technique to forcefully break through to the martial Grand Master realm. This kind of guy is already a living dead. It will be difficult to advance in the future, and there won't be any future prospects. However, it is not easy to refine one. The success rate is terrifyingly low. It can even be said to be difficult. If you ask me, what kind of nuisance is the Black Devil Martial King really sending this kind of guy to help? 8, at most 10 is the limit. Anyway, if it were me, if there were more than 10 of them, my heart would definitely ache. The dragon's soul chuckled and said, I've been trapped in Evil Dragon Mountain for many years. This time I've seen many interesting things. Fang Yu nodded. Follow me, and you'll be able to see a wider world. You brat, you're really panting just because you're fat, the dragon's soul grumpily said, but these undead do have their merits, why don't you practice a little? Alright. Fang Yu nodded. In any case, there was no way he would let Tao Tian leave so easily. Go quickly. Tao Tian urged the Dark Guard to leave quickly. Now, in front of Fang Yu, he could not be arrogant. Only the heavens knew how Fang Yu had managed to break through his defenses. In any case, He felt the feeling of death from Feng Yu that he had not felt for a long time. Tao Tian did not want to relive this feeling for even a moment. Of the 36 stratagems, retreat is the best stratagem. The two of us will bring him back. You guys take his life. The two dark guards said to the three people in front of them. Okay. One question and one answer, emotionless. It was like a machine, but it was also filled with the smell of walking corpses. System, are they martial artists? Can I get experience points by killing them? Feng Yu could not help but ask. If killing them did not give any experience, Feng Yu would be too lazy to make a move. Although he was not a person who would not wake up early without benefits, these dark guards did not look easy to deal with. If not necessary, it was better to not fight with them. Although they were sent by Black Devil Martial King, in the end, we still need to fight. Feng Yu secretly thought. Ding. They are half dead and half alive martial artists. Killing them can give experience. The Super Slaughter System's reply made Feng Yu feel relieved. If that was the case, he would be able to go all out. Report. The Tao family's Grand Elder and Second Elder were killed by Consecrator Feng. The Tao family's Patriarch Tao Tian was seriously injured and was rescued by the Dark Guard. Report. The 3 guards have already met up with Consecrator Feng. Report. The 3 Dark Guards have escaped with Tao Tian. A series of information came over, making Li Qiuhong so shocked that her little mouth could not close. Feng Yu fought 1 against 3. Not only did he kill the Tao family's Grand Elder and Second Elder, he also seriously injured the Tao family's Patriarch Tao Tian? It can't be. They all knew that Tao Tian was very strong. But to be strong to this extent, it was a bit excessive. Heaven's Secret Tower's real-time information is indeed extraordinary. Steward Chen looked at the few people who came to report outside the door and said, originally, they used the Li family's spies in the underground black market to investigate the current underground black market's information. But now, the entire underground black market could be said to be in a mess. Their information system had also suffered huge interference. It was very difficult to transmit information in a timely manner. Thus, they had no choice but to ask the Heaven's Secret Tower's spies to help transmit information. Regarding this kind of war that could break out at any moment, the Heaven's Secret Tower had always stayed out of it and kept a respectful distance. The Heaven's Secret Tower had its way of doing things. They wanted to make money, but it did not mean that they would accept any kind of business. After all, doing business this kind of thing did not have any principles. Wanting to earn any kind of money was precisely what was most likely to not get anything. The Heaven's Secret Tower liked money. Moreover, it was a lot of money as well as money that could flow endlessly. Therefore, they would normally not participate in this kind of clan extermination war. Of course, as long as it did not violate principles, relaxing the rules in certain aspects was also not impossible. For example, right now, they only asked the Heaven's Secret Tower to help transmit information. Letting the black market spies in District 1 East pass the information to the Heaven's Secret Tower, then hand it over to the Li family, saving a large period of time on the way. Even so, the fees they charged could also be rated as astronomical. If not for the importance of this time, even a colossus like the Li family would feel the pinch from this price. Grandpa Chen, what to do? Li Qiuhong was in a mess. To be honest, Feng Yu being able to fight 1 against 3 and even defeat several of the Tao family's main forces was truly unexpected and unimaginable. However, the Black Demon Martial King coveted the Li family's wealth endlessly. His proposal had already been rejected by the Aotian Martial King and the Treasure House, but he still secretly sent out the Dark Guard to help. There was no bottom line, and it was also refreshing. Right now, the most important thing was still Feng Yu, who was surrounded by 3 Dark Guard. This matter could be big or small. Little friend Feng's luck is really... Steward Chen did not know how to evaluate Feng Yu. It was really difficult to pass through all the obstacles. Chapter 97. Grandpa Chen, how about? Li Shuang opened her mouth, but in the end, she didn't finish her sentence. That's right, although they could make Steward Chen save Fang Yu, they couldn't guarantee that this matter would be exactly what the other party wanted. Li Shuang could choose not to take responsibility for herself, but she couldn't not take responsibility for the Li family. Second Mississippi, seeing this, Steward Chen was gratified. You are able to consider the big picture, which means that the Li family has a successor. As for little friend Fang's safety, it is equally important. I have already secretly sent a death squad to the East District to help. Death squad. The Li sisters were shocked. Obviously, they didn't expect this matter to reach the point of sending out death squad. Death squad. Perhaps the two ladies think that I am making a big fuss over nothing, but since it involves the Black Demon Sect's Dark Guard, we have to be careful. Not to mention, little friend Fang's life is very important to us. Steward Chen nodded. Fang Yu wasn't just an important part of their battle strength. He was also an important part of their cooperation with Feng Yaoguang. It could be said that Feng Yaoguang didn't care about the Li family's life or death. She only cared about Fang Yu, a helper who could help her reach a higher level in the selection. Because of this, even if the Li family survived, Fang Yu wouldn't be there. Everything they had discussed before would be nullified. The treasure house was one of the Li family's future allies. Although they were relying on Fang Yu to maintain their relationship, once Li Qiuhong successfully entered the Azure Dragon Institute, one of the 4 great institutes, she would become classmates with Fang Yu and Feng Yaoguang. Their relationship might improve further. In short, the decisive battle is near. Steward Chen took a deep breath. That's right, the Black Demon Sect's Dark Guard was here. If this wasn't the decisive battle, then what was? Victory or defeat, it would depend on who was more ruthless, who had a stronger foundation, and who had more helpers. Swish. Fang Yu slashed at a Dark Guard. The Dark Guard didn't dodge Fang Yu's attack, and continued to attack Fang Yu's face. The unexpected turn of events caused Fang Yu's expression to change. He quickly withdrew his saber, not daring to fight to the death. These guys are really zombies. I slashed at them, but they didn't react at all. Fang Yu was amazed. If it were him, it would be impossible for him to act as if nothing had happened after being slashed by someone. I already said that these fellows are living corpses. Refined corpses, to be honest, the success rate of refining corpses into living corpses should be very low. I never imagined that the Black Demon Sect would have such good methods in this aspect that they could create so many living corpses. The dragon soul sighed. While it was trapped in the dragon-subduing pagoda, the outside world changed with each passing day, making it sigh endlessly. Don't be in such a hurry to sigh. What should we do now? I'm not going to waste my time with them. Fang Yu asked. Fighting with these living corpses was really boring. What's so hard about dealing with them? Don't you have the dragon-subduing pagoda? Once you capture them and bring them to your place, won't you be able to do whatever you want? The dragon soul chuckled. Dragon-subduing pagoda. Fang Yu's eyes lit up and he immediately summoned the 7th-grade spirit weapon, Dragon-subduing pagoda. The dragon-subduing pagoda spun, growing from small to large, directly sucking several dark guards into it. What is this place? Something's wrong. Be careful, be on guard. The 3 dark guards stood back to back, guarding against Fang Yu. They had advanced to the martial Grand Master realm through refining corpses. Although they had lost many of their human emotions, it didn't mean that they had no emotions or souls. The so-called living corpses referred to their half-dead state and were definitely not truly dead. If that was the case, then these dark guards were just shells and wouldn't be of any use. The Black Demon Sect wouldn't need to spend any effort to refine them. Kid, the dragon subduing pagoda has many mysteries. It only has 7 levels, which means it has 7 abilities. This level is the 3rd level. The ability of the 3rd level is Eternal Thorns. As long as the master continuously injects spiritual energy, these thorns will continue to grow. The dragon's soul introduced the correct way to open the dragon subduing pagoda. Don't look at how weak the eternal thorns are. Their true mystery is not their powerful attacks, but their endless attacks. It's so annoying that it can annoy you to death. Looks like you have a deep understanding. Fang Yu asked with interest. Cough cough, let's not talk about the past. In short, the dragon subduing pagoda is indeed a treasure if there is a chance to repair it. Unfortunately, it requires special materials, so it will probably be very difficult to repair. The dragon's soul coughed a few times, not wanting to talk about its cowardly days of hiding in the dragon subduing pagoda. Fang Yu smiled but didn't say anything. Eternal Thorns. Fang Yu activated the dragon subduing pagoda's ability. Suddenly, an overwhelming amount of thorns rushed towards the 3 dark guards. Pooh! 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 The dark guards attacked with all their might. They didn't put these weak thorns in their eyes at all. But soon, they realized that the situation was not good. These thorns could not be cut off, they could not be killed. No matter how they attacked, how they killed, the thorns still surged out. The 3 dark guards were stunned. This was the first time they had encountered such a situation. This thing. One of them seemed to have realized something and said, "Don't you think this thing looks like the dragon subduing pagoda of the demon dragon mountain?" Dragon subduing pagoda? As soon as this was said, the other two's expressions suddenly changed. Didn't they say that the dragon subduing pagoda was taken away by a martial saint? If that was the case, how could it fall into Fang Yu's hands? Could it be that Martial King Ao Tian's rejection of our Martial King is related to this? The dark guards were bewildered. If there was a martial saint involved in this matter, not to mention 10 dark guards, even if there were 100 of them, even if the Black Demon Martial King personally came, what could they do? Could they still defeat a martial saint? It seems that you should have thought of the reason, Fang Yu chuckled, deliberately mystifying things. In this regard, the dragon's soul rolled its eyes. Kid, you're going to keep them anyway, why are you pretending? Just kill them. Fang Yu shook his head, revealing an expression that said, "You don't understand me." This made the dragon's soul speechless. Fang Yu, this kid, unless he exaggerates a little, he's not bad at all. It had to be said that the dragon subduing pagoda was indeed incomparably mysterious. At first, the eternal thorns did not have much effect, but after 100 breaths, 1,000 breaths, the 3 dark guards were gradually unable to hold on. They were living dead refined corpses, not real puppets. Half of their bodies were still flesh and blood. Even if the refined corpse part was not afraid of pain and could resist the eternal thorns, the other half of their bodies were almost turned into a pile of rotten meat under the ravaging of the eternal thorns. I didn't expect the dragon subduing pagoda to be so useful. Fang Yu couldn't help but be moved. Isn't that nonsense? If it's not useful, how could it suppress me for so many years? And even change the name of this thing to the dragon subduing pagoda? The dragon's soul cursed, feeling very unhappy. Fang Yu ignored the dragon soul's little mood and said, "It's time to harvest the heads." Chapter 98. That's right, in this short period of time, Tao Tian had escaped far away. Fang Yu did not plan to let Tao Tian go. The grudge of killing his mother was irreconcilable. Today Tao Tian must die. Azure Dragon enters the sea. Fang Yu suddenly appeared on the 3rd floor of the dragon subduing pagoda and took the opportunity to use a spiritual martial art. The mighty heaven and earth energy transformed into the image of an azure dragon. It opened its mouth and roared. It did not give the other party any chance and swallowed the few dark guards. Ding. Congratulations to the host for killing the Dark Guard. You have received 4,000 experience points. Ding. Congratulations to the host for killing the Dark Guard. You have received 3,500 experience points. Ding. Congratulations to the host for killing the Dark Guard. You have received 5,000 experience points. Oh? With a glance, Fang Yu could see that the Dark Guards he had just killed had a clear difference in strength. Otherwise, there wouldn't be such a huge difference in the experience he received. Ding. Congratulations to the host for leveling up. Current experience points: 430,005,0000. 4-star Martial Grand Master. Fang Yu's aura surged. The reason why he was able to level up so quickly was completely related to his continuous killing of Martial Grandmasters. Even in the Tang sect, Martial Grandmasters were one of the core forces. How could they be killed so easily? Only such a riot would cause so many Martial Grandmasters to be slaughtered like chickens and dogs. If it were any other time, a few Martial Grandmasters would be enough to support the foundation of a force. If they were casually killed, it would cause a commotion. Tao Tian. Fang Yu quickly gathered his attention. Tao Tian was the first target he wanted to take revenge on. He couldn't let him get away. Quickly gather with your people. The two Dark Guards carried Tao Tian and escaped. However, Tao Tian was extremely anxious and kept urging them along the way. The Dark Guards were indifferent. They knew that Fang Yu, who could defeat Tao Tian, was not an easy person to deal with. However, the Dark Guards were not to be trifled with either. Being surrounded by 3 Dark Guards, so what if he was a genius Martial Grandmaster? At most, it would be a 1-for-1 exchange. 10 Dark Guards, 1 dead in exchange for Fang Yu's life was worth it. Although the orders from the top, it's best to bring him back alive, a Black Jade Guard thought to himself. Seeing this, Tao Tian was of the Dark Guard. They didn't know how strong Fang Yu was, and they also didn't know how strong they were. Tao Tian had deceived everyone. His actual combat strength had surpassed that of a 5-star Martial Grand Master. If he was not a match for Fang Yu, the Dark Guard would be doomed. Even so, we have already escaped for more than half an hour. Even if Fang Yu is very powerful, he can't possibly kill 3 Dark Guards in such a short time and catch up to us, Tao Tian thought. It was not unreasonable for him to think this way. Although the Dark Guards had limited achievements, they were still remarkable in numbers. For example, they were refined using corpse refining technique. Although they did not have copper skin and iron bones, they were immune to many external injuries. This was something that a Martial Grand Master with a flesh and blood body could not achieve. Fang Yu's attack was powerful, but he could not be invulnerable. However, just as Tao Tian was thinking about it, an angry shout broke through the wind. "Thief Tao Tian, where are you running to?" "What?" Hearing this, everyone's expression changed. Fang Yu caught up? It can't be. He got rid of 3 Black Jade Guards? The expressions of the remaining 2 Dark Guards became very interesting. If Fang Yu could appear here, then what about the other 3 Black Jade Guards? It went without saying. "Let's attack together," the 2 Dark Guards said to Tao Tian. At this point, they could only join forces to defeat Fang Yu. Otherwise, if the 3 Dark Guards could kill Fang Yu alone, how could they kill the 2 of them? They could only drag Tao Tian along. "Alright. I hope the 2 of you will work together sincerely and not be intimidated by this guy." Tao Tian said the ugly words first. The 2 Dark Guards were confused. Even if Fang Yu was very strong, saying that they would be intimidated was too much of an exaggeration. Setting sun, scorching sun. In the next moment, Fang Yu slashed. The dragon teeth dagger was like a small sun falling from the sky. The Dark Guard screamed as he was burned to ashes. Ding! Congratulations to the host for killing the Dark Guard. You have received 3,500 experience points. It's the weaker one. Fang Yu sighed and went to kill another dark guard. However, this dark guard was a little strange. He was proficient in movement technique. Even if Fang Yu was strong, he was still dodged by him several times. Kid, your killing intent is too obvious. It is undeniable that your strength combined with the dragon teeth dagger is simply a massacre. However, some people are proficient in movement technique. If they insist on escaping, it will not be easy for you to stay. It will take a lot of time. Tao Tian slipped away. The dragon soul was still talking when it realized that Tao Tian had taken the opportunity to run away. It could not help but shout, "Die for me!" Fang Yu was angry. This dark guard kept on pestering him, allowing Tao Tian to escape. Tao Tian had the intention to enter the underground black market. He must have made preparations in advance. If he really let Tao Tian escape so easily, it would be difficult to catch him. If you want to catch him, you have to kill me first. The dark guard chuckled and said, "Dragon subduing pagoda." Fang Yu did not care about this person. Since he could not kill him for the time being, he would not kill him. The dragon subduing pagoda spun and sucked the strangely laughing dark guard into the dragon subduing pagoda. After that, it continued to chase after Tao Tian. At this moment, Tao Tian was finally afraid. He did not expect Fang Yu to be so strong. If he knew that Fang Yu had such ability, he would definitely not deliberately act cool and send himself to death. However, it was a little too late to think about this now, because Fang Yu was here. "Tao Tian, you can't run away today." Fang Yu closed in on Tao Tian step by step. The distance between him and Tao Tian was getting closer and closer. Tao Tian was annoyed in his heart, but there was nothing he could do. He and Fang Yu had a grudge against each other for killing his mother. If he said that Fang Yu would spare him, Tao Tian would not believe it. "Fang Yu, I was not the only one who killed Fang Yi. Fang Zhao protected you and not her. Is Fang Zhao not wrong? Also, Zheng He of the Jing family and my sister. I am definitely not the mastermind behind this." Tao Tian howled. He could not care about his sister or brother-in-law. He only knew that if he was chased by Fang Yu, he would definitely die. As the saying goes, it is better to die than to die. For his own life, he could only do this. I know what you are talking about." Fang Zhao aside, killing Fang Yi is slapping his face. He is such a sanctimonious guy. If he had the chance, he would definitely not allow you to slap his face. It can only be said that the Fang family's ability is limited. As for Zheng He and your sister, I will not let any of them off. Fang Yu chuckled, his face cold. Killing Tao Tian was the first thing he would do. Chapter 99. Fang Yu, you've gone too far. You've forced me to do this. I'll fight you to the death. Tao Tian realized that Fang Yu really had no intention of letting him go. Sorrow welled up in him and he wanted to fight Fang Yu to the death. At this point, he would die no matter what. What was Tao Tian afraid of? Die kneeling, die standing, die either way. Then let's fight to the death. Tao Tian, didn't believe that he couldn't bite off a piece of meat from Fang Yu's body. "You're a real man." Seeing Tao Tian turn around, Fang Yu couldn't help but praise him despite his stupidity. Even if Tao Tian fought to the death, he still wouldn't have a chance. But if he fought to the death, he would at least save some face for himself. Compared to doing nothing and being killed by him, it was better. "Humph. Fang Yu, you're still going to eat me. Watch me." Before Tao Tian could finish his words, he saw a saber rapidly growing in front of him. See la. Tao Tian was split into two by Fang Yu. Ding. Congratulations to host for killing the head of the Tao family, Tao Tian. Received 7,500 experience points. Ding. Congratulations to host for leveling up to 5-star martial master. Current experience points, 540-006-0000. Ding. Congratulations to host for completing the revenge mission. Received 100. 0 slaughter points. Fong Yu didn't care about these notifications. Instead, he slowly closed his eyes and relaxed. Mother, I've killed my first enemy for you. Fong Yu's heart was strangely calm. At this moment, he and Fong Yu had finally merged into one. Ding. Congratulations to host for merging soul and body. Special reward. Slaughter Shop level +1. Ding. Slaughter Shop has increased the production of black medicine. Ding. Due to host Fong Yu's huge improvement, Super Slaughter System has unlocked more postures. Postures? Fong Yu was stunned. What the hell was the Super Slaughter System unlocking more positions? Speaking of which, what is the unification of soul and body? Fong Yu thought and suddenly asked the Dragon Soul. Soul and body as one? This meant that the soul and physical body of the main body had completely merged into one. Don't think that this is a small matter. Unity of soul and body is one of the 3 conditions to become a saint. Many people have no hope of breaking through to the saint realm because they can't even meet the 3 conditions. How can they break through? Although the Dragon Soul didn't know why Fong Yu would ask such a question, it answered Fong Yu's question. I see. Fong Yu suddenly understood. Just now, he had inadvertently achieved one of the conditions to become a saint, the unity of soul and body. No wonder the Super Slaughter System said that he had made great progress. Is this because my soul doesn't belong to this body? Just now, I felt as if I had experienced it myself. Finally, we have merged together. The more Fong Yu thought about it, the more he felt this was the case. Then, he had profited from a disaster? The mysteries of the world, it was really hard to explain. I wonder what position the Super Slaughter System has unlocked. And, just as Fong Yu finished thinking, he realized that the Super Slaughter System's mysterious heaven technique had an additional plus. Plus. What is this? Fong Yu curiously clicked on it and saw another notification from the Super Slaughter System. Ding. According to the host's current level and the Super Slaughter System's unlocked authority, the mysterious heaven technique can be upgraded. Upgrade condition. Spend 30 U slaughter points to upgrade the mysterious heaven technique to black level high rank, or swallow the black level high rank Ghost King art to upgrade the mysterious heaven technique to black level high rank. There is such a thing. After Fong Yu recovered from his shock, he began to calculate. Although spending 30 slaughter points seemed like a lot, as long as Fong Yu did more missions, 30 slaughter points was really not much. Furthermore, if he used the Ghost King art to exchange for a chance to upgrade, he would be losing out. One must know that the Ghost King art could be exchanged for martial arts of the same level in the 4 big academies. If he used it directly, he would lose half of his points. Therefore, using 30 slaughter points to upgrade the mysterious heaven technique to black level high rank was quite feasible. Upgrade. Fong Yu chose to upgrade. Ding. Slaughter points, use 30 mysterious heaven technique upgrade successful. Current rank is black level high rank. Controlling crane capturing dragon hands can also be upgraded here. 15 slaughter points? It's upgraded. Fong Yu did not hesitate to upgrade his controlling crane capturing dragon hands. Previously, if he wanted to upgrade his controlling crane capturing dragon hands, he needed 10,000 experience points. Fong Yu did not want to spend so much. Now, 10,000 experience points did not seem like a big problem. However, as the selection of the 4 big academies approached, Fong Yu naturally wanted his rank to be as high as possible. This way, he could not casually use experience points. Ding. Controlling crane capturing dragon hands has successfully upgraded to spiritual martial art, Dragon Crane's Second Strike. Dragon Crane's Second Strike. Fang Yu clicked his tongue in wonder. I want to ask, has this Dragon Crane's Second Strike ever appeared in the past? It has never appeared in the 10,000 Spirit Continent. In fact, any martial arts upgrade would change, according to the user's comprehension. The Super Slaughter system evolved the Wu controlling crane capturing dragon hands into the Dragon Crane's Second Strike, according to the host's experience and style. After the Super Slaughter system's explanation, Fang Yu became even more excited. So this was a martial art that used him as the blueprint to upgrade. This is a martial art that I, Fang Yu, created. Although it was catalyzed by the Super Slaughter system, if my luck is enough, I will still be able to create the Dragon Crane's Second Strike. One day. Fang Yu's eyes shone brightly. You brat, how did you upgrade again? Suddenly, the Dragon Soul's expression changed when it discovered that Fang Yu's aura was not right. Motherf ******, how many days had it been? Not even a day had passed and Fang Yu had upgraded again. Motherf *****, is he still human? My evildoer can't be judged by normal standards. Fang Yu casually replied. If he had time, he really wanted to explore what the Super Slaughter system would be like after unlocking more postures. However, he did not have the time to do so now. Killing the Dark Guard and Tao Tian would undoubtedly bring forward the final battle. Not to mention, Zheng He had prepared many trump cards for this final battle. He had to return to the Li family to oversee it. Zheng He and his wife. I must kill them. Fang Yu secretly thought. Ding. Revenge mission, kill Zheng He and his wife. The reward is temporarily not announced. The Super Slaughter system suddenly issued a mission. Oh? Temporarily not announced? This aroused Fang Yu's curiosity. Normally, the Super Slaughter system would just say what the mission reward was. If it did not say anything, it would feel like a random lottery. Now, it was more like the reward had already been decided but was not immediately announced. This made Fang Yu somewhat anxious. You said that the 5 Dark Guard failed and Tao Tian died? Zheng He, who was standing with his hands behind his back, slowly turned around and faced the spy from the Heaven's secret sect. Chapter 100. Yes. To be precise, one of the Dark Guards went missing, the other 4 were killed, and the head of the Tao Tian family was killed. The spy corrected Zheng He's statement. Zheng He did not speak. Was there any difference between the two statements? Was it all done by Fang Yu alone? Zheng He asked again. Yes. Although the Li family sent 3 teams of guards as reinforcements, by the time they arrived, Tao Tian was already dead, so they were sent as reinforcements to the guards who were fighting the 3rd elder of the Tao family. The spy looked at the jade tablet in his pocket. We just received news that the 3rd elder of the Tao family was killed, and all the martial artists and prisoners in the Eastern District have been cleaned up. This has a huge impact on our overall combat strength. Zheng He's expression did not change. Excluding the 1st elder, 2nd elder, and 3rd elder of the Tao clan, the 5 Black Jade Guards and the patriarch of the Tao clan were a total of 6 martial grandmasters. 6 martial grandmasters. None of the 3 major clans of Skylight City would be able to produce so many martial grandmasters. But now, he was killed by Fang Yu in a single breath. This kid was simply too terrifying. Head of the family, the Zheng family's butler asked softly. He understood Zheng He's habits very well. Usually, when Zheng He acted this way, it meant that he was about to make a decision. Consolidate our combat strength. The men we sent out earlier will join us. In 2 hours, we will advance towards the Li family. Zheng He said without hesitation. Are we going to spread it out directly? The Zheng family's butler was a little confused. Wasn't this to remind the Li family to be on their guard? This battle is unavoidable. We have to win with dignity, not with luck. There is no such thing as luck in this kind of thing. Zheng He took a deep breath and said. He was speaking the truth. The Li family had dominated the underground black market for many years. Feigning ignorance at this time would only lead to a worse death. The Zheng family had followed the Li family for many years and knew the Li family's temperament too well. Even though they had lost the previous head of the family and many of the Li family's officials, the Li family was still a colossus that couldn't be underestimated. Only by fighting with their backs to the river would they have any hope of defeating the Li family. Although the Zheng family's housekeeper couldn't understand, Zheng He's decisions were rarely wrong. They wouldn't doubt him and would only follow his orders to the letter. Fang Yu killed the Dark Guard in Tao Tian? When the news spread, the Li family members found it inconceivable. Wasn't that the case? 5 Dark Guards in Tao Tian, that was a total of 6 martial grandmasters. Even housekeeper Chen might not be able to deal with such a valiant battle record if he were to do it. Little friend Fang is indeed a young hero, Steward Chen sighed with emotion. Then is Fang Yu all right? The Dark Guard is rumored to not be completely alive. Could it be that he has some dangerous tricks up his sleeves? Li Shuiying asked worriedly. According to the information we received, he should be safe and sound. The Tianji sect's spy replied truthfully. After receiving confirmation, Li Qiuhong and Li Shuiying both breathed a sigh of relief. To be honest, Fang Yu was too important to them right now. If Fang Yu was lost, it would undoubtedly be a huge blow to the sisters, both in public and private. Now that Fang Yu was safe and sound, how could they not be relieved? I'm back. What are you doing? Fang Yu had just returned with his team when he saw Li Qiuhong and Li Shuiying's fists raining down on him. Crackle! They unceremoniously beat Fang Yu up, but Fang Yu could only endure and not fight back. He was quite helpless. Fang Yu, how could you do such a dangerous thing? Was it fun to fight a few Dark Guards alone? You even chased after Tao Tian. Do you really think you have 3 heads and 6 arms? Li Shuiying said angrily. Although the Dark Guards are strong, they definitely have weaknesses. There's still a great chance to kill them. Moreover, if they don't die, they'll always be a hidden danger. I can only try to kill them. Fang Yu tried to explain. As for Tao Tian, he's one of the masterminds behind my mother's death. We can't let him go. Hearing this, Li Qiuhong and Li Shuiying opened their mouths, but didn't know what to say. Because Fang Yu's reason was too good, they couldn't refute it. Even so, you have to consider your own safety. Don't you know that it's very dangerous to fight with them? Li Shuiying said unhappily. Sometimes there are some things that have to be done. Fang Yu shook his head. Although he knew that killing the Dark Guards was very dangerous, he was confident. Moreover, the Dark Guards wanted to save Tao Tian, so Fang Yu's only way was to kill them. Otherwise, with how cunning Tao Tian was, once he escaped, it would really be a long time before they could find him again. Therefore, even if it was risky, Fang Yu had to kill them. Not to mention, he was very confident that he could kill them. Why wouldn't he do such a profitable business? Fang Yu's solemn vow made them so angry that they didn't know what to say. Little friend Fang, your valiant battle record has brought the decisive battle forward. Steward Chen changed the topic and said. That's right, Fang Yu's actions had undoubtedly forced the Jing family to bring forward the decisive battle. After all, if they continued to be defeated by Fang Yu one by one, it would be a problem how many great martial masters they would have to help them in the final battle. In any case, the Dark Demon Martial King's proposal was rejected. Privately lending 10 Dark Guards was the limit. If he went too far and completely ignored the wishes of King Ao Tian and the Jinbao Pavilion, then what was the point of the black market meeting? Wouldn't that mean that it existed in name only? King Ao Tian and the Jinbao Pavilion would not allow the Dark Demon Martial King to offend their dignity. The decisive battle is also good. Zheng He, in order to quickly unify the world after taking over the underground black market, probably prepared a lot of trump cards. My move of killing the old master made him passive, and he had no choice but to take every step carefully. Fang Yu grinned and said, "That's right, Fang Yu's extraordinary strength could be said to be the biggest variable in this battle. Even if the martial spirit experts of the Li family were carefully prepared, how to deal with Fang Yu and how much price to pay to deal with Fang Yu was something that Zheng He had never thought about. Who told the Dark Demon Martial King to not touch Fang Yu unless it was necessary, and Zheng He himself had the same intention. The result before his eyes was truly unexpected. Little friend Fang, your specific cultivation is? Steward Chen could not help but ask. In fact, it was very impolite to directly ask someone else's cultivation. In theory, he should not ask. However, Fang Yu was too mysterious. Even someone like Steward Chen could not help but ask. Am I now? Fang Yu smiled and then released his cultivation aura, causing Steward Chen's expression to instantly change. Chapter 101. 5-Star Martial Grand Master. This. Steward Chen's expression changed. He didn't know what to say. He remembered that Fang Yu wasn't even a martial grand master before, right? Then, he turned around and became a martial grand master. Now, he was a 5-star martial grand master. Was this kid really human? What a freak. Little friend Fang, how did you cultivate? Steward Chen was silent for a long time before he asked slowly. He had cultivated for many years and was only a 6-star martial grand master. Steward Chen could clearly feel that he was almost at the end of the road. He had no hope of becoming a martial spirit in this life. Those who had a chance of becoming a martial spirit had already displayed their terrifying talent before they were 20 years old. For example, Fang Yu in front of him. It was just a fluke. Fang Yu smiled and said. Steward Chen didn't agree with Fang Yu's words. If there was a fluke in this kind of thing, then he really had nothing to say. Little friend Fang, to be honest, you are really a big variable in this battle. Steward Chen took a deep breath and said, Originally, I wanted to do this personally, but if I do, it will be too obvious. I don't know, Fang Yu's heart skipped a beat. Our martial spirit ancestor, Li Xiantian, needs a powerful martial grand master to protect him. Steward Chen said seriously, This matter has to be done by me, but little friend Fang, you should know that if I do it personally, I will definitely be watched closely. It might not be a good thing. Won't they care about my words? Fang Yu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He had defeated several martial grand masters in one go. With this kind of battle record, it would be difficult for them to ignore him, right? Steward Chen was speechless. Even so, the Zheng family understands the workings of our Li family very well. At a time like this, I will definitely be the one to protect the martial spirit patriarch. If it was you, my young friend, who knows, you might be able to deceive everyone. Of course, they have considered the possibility of you, my young friend, but they do not dare to take the risk. Steward Chen said with a smile, No matter what, when I fought for the Li family all by myself, my hands were stained with blood. At the time, Zheng He was still young, but he firmly remembered this scene. Because of this, he did not dare to leave me alone. Fang Yu pondered for a moment and nodded. Sure, I have to make arrangements anyway. It's not impossible to protect the martial spirit patriarch. Then I'll have to thank you, little friend Fang. I'll give the two young ladies some instructions and send you to see the martial spirit ancestor. Steward Chen was overjoyed. In his opinion, Fang Yu, a 5-star martial master, was not inferior to him in terms of strength. Letting Fang Yu temporarily replace him could be said to be a strange move. Steward Chen did not believe that a cautious person like Zheng He would think that he would really use Fang Yu to replace him. Fang Yu will replace Steward Chen to protect the old ancestor? This. Li Qiuhong was shocked. She was shocked because Fang Yu had already reached the level of being able to protect the old ancestor? Young miss, I shouldn't have said this, because it's a little overboard. However, Fang Yu is a dragon and phoenix among people. In the future, not to mention becoming a martial spirit, even a martial king is very likely. The reason why our Li family is targeted is because we don't have a martial king backing us. Steward Chen sighed. Grandpa Chen, Li Qiuhong blushed. Could it be that she didn't understand what Butler Chen meant? She was not an idiot. Young miss, I know that you are still young and it's too early to talk about this kind of thing. However, Fang Yu is really not bad. He joined our Li family by chance and has made many contributions. So what if his background is not good? With his ability, it won't be a problem for him to get into the 4 great academies. Steward Chen continued to persuade. But Feng Yaoguang, Li Qiuhong was worried sick. The only thing she did not lose to Feng Yaoguang was probably her appearance. As for the rest, she was inferior to Feng Yaoguang. What's there to say? If young master becomes a martial king in the future, our Li family will become an existence like Zhenbao Tower. It's just a matter of time. As Steward Chen spoke, he realized that he was pushing too hard. He could not help but soften his tone. I'm only suggesting. As for how to proceed, it depends on young miss, or second miss. We don't need Shuiying to interfere. Li Qiuhong said decisively. They were sisters from the same mother. However, how could sisters share a man's problem so casually? If that was the case, then this man would be too lucky. Steward Chen smiled but did not say anything. He could smell a trace of jealousy in young Mrs. tone. It seemed that young Mrs. Hart was not as calm as still water toward Fang Yu. Kid, you're lucky. You have a wife at such a young age, and 2 at that. Sigh, it's a pity that when my physical body collapsed, I did not have a female dragon of my own. The dragon soul's tone was faint. It was a little angry and jealous. I'm focused on cultivation. I won't think about these things for the time being. Fang Yu replied. He had yet to take his revenge, and did not have much time to think about personal affairs. TSK. It's easy for you to say that. If I had a lot of female dragons infatuated with me, I could say it better than you. The dragon's soul was disdainful. It felt that Fang Yu was deliberately showing off. Fang Yu felt a little helpless. Was this really someone who had once become a martial saint? Why was it like a child? When you were in the past, you were called a demon dragon by the world. You had a fierce reputation. The proper female dragons probably looked down on you. Fang Yu could not help but respond to the dragon soul's nagging. The dragon soul was stunned as if it had never thought about this problem. The dragon race considers themselves to be orthodox. You cultivate evil technique. Even if you become a martial saint, you might not be welcomed by others, right? Fang Yu was also stunned. Could it be that this guy really did not consider this problem? I really did not think about this. Normally, if you're strong enough, there will be many female dragons throwing themselves at you, right? The dragon's soul was anxious. At this moment, it realized that when it was in the past, it seemed to have done something wrong. You forget it. Fang Yu could not be bothered to say more. Speaking of which, how old are you? Me? There are some differences in the standard of adulthood for our dragon race. After all, there are still some differences among the dragon race. But overall, 500 years old is the age of adulthood. I have been sealed for 100 years. I should be less than 150 years old now. Am I still a baby dragon? The dragon's soul thought for a while before answering. You mean, you became a martial saint before the age of 50? Fang Yu's pupils shrank. If that was the case, this demon dragon's talent was too abnormal. Becoming a martial saint. Fang Yu himself had the super slaughter system and did not dare to say that he would definitely become a martial saint before the age of 50. This demon dragon was actually so terrifying. What's wrong? What's wrong? Are you looking down on baby dragons? But I'm really a baby dragon. The dragon's soul suddenly acted cute, causing Fang Yu to have goosebumps. Chapter 102. Little friend Fang, if you're ready, please come with me. Steward Chen said to Fang Yu after giving his instructions. Okay. Fang Yu had no objections. Fang Yu followed Steward Chen. After half an hour, they finally stood in front of a stone wall. Could this be? Fang Yu was shocked. This stone wall looked like it was only carved with pictures of mountains and rivers. It was very ordinary and there was nothing special about it. However, when Fang Yu looked carefully, he realized that everything on this stone wall seemed to be alive. This is a spiritual weapon. To be precise, it is a broken spiritual weapon. The weapon spirit is asleep, and it does not have the power of a complete spiritual weapon. However, it is excellent to use as a spatial treasure. After this item was damaged, it did not retain much of its power. However, it is perfect to use as a cultivation treasure. Steward Chen talked non-stop. He was not showing off, but explaining the many benefits of this item to Fang Yu. He was expressing his goodwill to Fang Yu. See, Grandpa Chen has already told you such a secret. Obviously, he has chosen you as his son-in-law. Look at me, I don't even have a physical body now. The dragon's soul's tone was faint. Fang Yu rolled his eyes and didn't even bother with this guy. This guy, he was spoiling it and it was still full of energy. Little friend Fang, our ancestor Wu Ling said that one day, if he is able to advance further, he will travel the 1,000-spirit continent. At that time, this item will belong to the next leader of the Li family. The Li family's heirs in this generation are all daughters. However, it doesn't matter. In the future, one of the children will have the surname Li. That is to continue the bloodline of the Li family. As for the rest, we can discuss it. I have said so much. Little friend Fang, don't think that I am nagging. You know that it is easy for people to be like this when they are old. Steward Chen rambled on. Fang Yu smiled helplessly. He could not say anything to the other party. Raise your hand and don't hit a smiling face. What else could he do? Buzz, suddenly, the stone wall in front of him buzzed. Steward Chen's eyes lit up. It's the martial spirit patriarch's response. Little friend Fang, get ready. We're going in. Yes. Just as Fang Yu nodded, he felt himself being forcefully sucked into the stone tablet by an unknown force. When Fang Yu's vision became clear again, he was already standing in the landscape depicted on the mural. Is this the little fellow you were talking about? A faintly discernible male voice sounded from the front. Fang Yu looked up and saw a white-haired youth standing in front of him and Steward Chen. The man had the appearance of a young man. His facial features could be described as handsome. His aura was as boundless as the sea. It was not something a martial grand master could compare to. So this is a martial spirit expert? Fang Yu was shocked. He had seen martial kings and even martial saints. However, the martial kings did not use their full strength. As for how strong they were, it was unclear. The gap between martial saints was too big. It was like the difference between heaven and earth. Fang Yu did not have the heart to fight. Therefore, it was also hard to tell how strong martial saints were. Martial spirits were different. After martial grand master was martial spirit. In the martial spirit realm, one could give birth to spiritual sense. In fact, it was not appropriate to say that it was born. This was because when one was a martial grandmaster, one would be able to use inner vision, seeing inside, prying into the mysteries of one's body. This was the power of spiritual sense. However, martial grandmasters could not completely control spiritual sense. At least, they could not use it freely. At the martial spirit realm, one could completely use spiritual sense for their own use. It was extremely mysterious. The gap between martial Grand Masters and martial spirits is too big. It is more than 10 times bigger than the gap between martial masters and martial Grand Masters. Fang Yu thought to himself, "Yes, Patriarch. I think it is better for him to replace me as your protector." Steward Chen said, "Oh? How is it better?" Li Xiantian asked curiously. "He has endless potential. Except for my rich experience, I am not as good as him in other aspects." Steward Chen thought for a while and said his thoughts. Although he was a 6-star martial Grand Master, 1 level higher than Fang Yu. However, things like levels were only meaningful for martial artists with similar aptitude. If one was a peerless genius, then 1 or 2 levels would be useless. Fang Yu was such a peerless genius. "If you can take 1 blow from me, I will allow you to protect me. I have used 49 days to refine a cauldron of elixirs. Now is the critical moment. I cannot be distracted. Otherwise, I will have to face the enemy personally. What you need to do is to protect me until the elixirs are done. At that time, I will give you 3 spirit-intensifying elixirs." Li Xiantian said frankly. "Spirit-intensifying elixirs? 3. Fang Yu was shocked. The spirit-intensifying elixir was used by martial spirit experts to break through to the next level. The amount of spiritual energy it contained was unimaginable. Even if a martial spirit expert swallowed one, it would take a lot of time to refine it. Now Li Xiantian said that he would give out 3 spirit-intensifying elixirs. This was very generous. Patriarch Steward Chen's eyelids twitched. He knew that this cauldron of spirit-intensifying elixirs was used by Li Xiantian to break through to the next level. Now, he was giving 3 to Fang Yu in one go. This was very generous. "I know what I am doing." Li Xiantian waved his hand. "Then, Senior, please make your move." Fang Yu took a deep breath and prepared himself for battle. "Good." Li Xiantian had just said the word "good" when Fang Yu felt an endless torrent of spiritual sense pressing down on him. "It's a spiritual sense attack." Steward Chen's expression changed. It seemed that the martial spirit patriarch was not going to hold back. Otherwise, why would he use a spiritual sense attack? Slash. Fang Yu gritted his teeth and slashed out with his dragon teeth saber. The word slash faintly gathered saber intent, and together with his saber, it collided with Li Xiantian's spiritual sense attack. Rumble. Li Xiantian's eyes lit up and said, "Oh? You are a little guy who has comprehended some saber intent. Although there are many people in the world who have comprehended some saber intent, you are still so young. Interesting. Senior, have I passed?" Fang Yu asked. "You have passed. Speaking of which, how did you think of using saber intent to break my spiritual sense?" Spiritual sense, to be honest, is an illusory thing. Saber intent is the same. The two of them just happen to counter each other. How did you think of this method? Li Xiantian was very interested in Fang Yu's reaction. Because in his impression, when a normal junior encountered such an attack, their first reaction would be to dodge and dodge. But Fang Yu faced it head-on. Such a choice was rare. "Senior, do you want to tell me the truth?" Fang Yu asked hesitantly. "Just say it." Li Xiantian replied. "To be honest, my counterattack just now was instinctive." Fang Yu smiled helplessly and said, "I still have some tricks up my sleeve, but my first reaction just now was to break it with my saber." "Instinct, break it with your saber. Haha, you little guy, you are very interesting. Furthermore, you are already a 5-star martial master at such a young age. Your future is limitless." Li Xiantian pondered for a moment and laughed. Chapter 103. Steward Chen had always thought highly of Fang Yu, but now that his ancestor had personally praised him, it was a completely different matter. "You stay here." Little Chen, you continue to oversee the central command. The battle is near, don't be flustered. Li Xiantian gestured for Steward Chen to leave. Yes. Steward Chen cupped his fists and left. I'll continue refining medicine. You stay here. This is the token for this place. With it, you can enter and leave as you wish. With that, Li Xiantian flicked a token over and left. This senior is so impatient and carefree, Fang Yu couldn't help but comment. A guy with some strength will more or less have some eccentricities. Why are you looking at me? After the dragon's soul finished speaking casually, it realized that Fang Yu was staring at it. It was instantly displeased. Are you hinting that I'm actually a strange dragon? No, no, no. I didn't say that. You said it yourself. Fang Yu quickly retorted. He knew how difficult it was to deal with this demon dragon. If he got entangled with it, it wouldn't be so easy to escape. The battle was imminent, so it wasn't the time to bicker with the demon dragon. The dragon's soul continued to curse, unwilling to let the matter rest. However, Fang Yu didn't respond, so it couldn't do anything about it. Patriarch, we've already passed down the order. Our men are now marching toward the Li family. The Li family has gathered all their men and is scattered in all directions of the Li family. Prepare to meet the attack head-on. Reporting, the one overseeing the Li family now is Steward Chen Li. News came in one after another, but Zheng He remained unmoved. Hee, what's going on? Did you tell me to get here early just to wait for you to give the order? A figure wrapped in a black robe stepped forward and chuckled. Don't worry, I will personally go into battle later. Of course, I have to make arrangements for this side. Although there are 5 dark guards and a few martial grandmasters helping me, the Li family's men of sacrifice cannot be underestimated. It is easy to exchange one with a martial grandmaster. Otherwise, how could they be called the kings of the black market? Zheng He said leisurely. The closer it was to the decisive battle, the calmer he became. He loved this feeling. This was the feeling of putting everything on the table. I thought that you would ask me for something interesting. I didn't expect that it was just a martial spirit. The black-robed figure snorted lightly. Just a martial spirit? He has the talent to become a martial king, but he is not focused enough. His talent in alchemy is not bad. Of course, it will be difficult for him to achieve more. Moreover, what no one knows is that his alchemy level is not inferior to his strength. If he had not been living in seclusion and no one knew, I am afraid that there would be an endless stream of forces wanting to cooperate with him. Zheng He smiled. In this way, Aotian Martial King or Jinbao Pavilion will throw an olive branch to him. You and I really have no room to interfere. That's right, if there was the direct protection of Aotian Martial King or Jinbao Pavilion, even people like Black Demon Martial King would not dare to covet the Li family. Because Black Demon Martial King was domineering, Aotian Martial King and Jinbao Pavilion's methods were even more domineering than him. You said it so well. I really want to meet this person. If I succeed in the end, the benefits I promised will only be more and more. The black-robed figure chuckled. It was unknown whether he believed it or not. Zheng He smiled but did not say anything. Report. The Zheng family's people are gradually approaching. At most, they will meet our people in 15 minutes. The scout's report made the sisters in charge of the Li family very worried. Finally, it was time to fight to the death. In the past, the underground black market was so prosperous. Who would have thought that more than half of the area would be turned into ruins overnight with countless casualties? Now, it was time to fight the Zheng family head-on. If they won, the Li family would welcome the peace of the past and even go one step further. If they lost, the Zheng family would replace them. On the other hand, the Li family would probably be killed by Zheng He. Zheng He is a very ruthless person. He is ruthless to others and even more ruthless to himself. I remember when he became a great martial master, his father, the former head of the Zheng family, was surrounded by thieves with him. At that time, only one of them could survive. Zheng He did not hesitate to choose himself because his talent was better. His father was already at the end of his life, and it would be difficult for him to make any progress in his life. As he said this, Steward Chen could not help but frown. It was too ruthless. If Zheng He and his father had fought with their lives on the line, there would have been at least a 30% chance of breaking out of the encirclement. However, the price they would have had to pay would have been very high. In order to protect the Jing family's future and protect the Jing family's foundation, Zheng He chose to live on by himself. His father was surrounded and killed. A year later, Zheng He personally led people to kill every single one of his enemies, not even sparing the old, the weak, the women, and the children. Because of this, Steward Chen was very worried about what to do if they lost this battle. If we really lose, the Li family will probably be destroyed, Steward Chen could not help but think. Report. The Dark Guard appeared within 1,000 zhang radius, but did not immediately attack. Report. A few well-known rogue cultivators have appeared nearby. The strongest one is a great martial master. Report. Zheng He and the black-robed man beside him have disappeared. No one knows where they went. Zheng He has disappeared. Steward Chen was stunned. This was completely out of his expectations. Could it be that he wants to preserve his strength? Li Shuiying voiced her opinion. No, the 5 Dark Guard and the rogue cultivator he invited to help him can definitely be considered a main force. Zheng He has no reason not to move with them. The more Steward Chen thought about it, the more he felt that something was wrong. He said, I have to go there personally. Report. The Dark Guard and rogue cultivators nearby have all launched an attack. The Jing family's men are speeding up and approaching. They will clash with our men in half an hour at most. As the scout reported again, Steward Chen stopped in his tracks. They were trying to lock him in here for life. With the battle imminent, he could not leave Li Shuiying and Li Qiuhong behind to check on the martial spirit patriarch's situation. He could only hope that he was overthinking and that Zheng He did not create a diversion. Fang Yu sat cross-legged in the stone wall. Suddenly, the token gave out a warning. Someone is coming. So soon? Fang Yu was surprised. He left the stone wall with the token and walked away with his saber. Fang Yu, it is indeed you who is guarding this place. Suddenly, a voice arrived before the person. Fang Yu recognized who it was and his veins bulged. Zheng He. It's you. You actually came here personally? In this battle, the Li family's martial spirit patriarch was the most important. Zheng He had to deal with this problem sooner or later. Otherwise, it would not be a victory against the Li family. However, no one would have thought that Zheng He would be so bold. The battle had just begun, and he had personally come to deal with the Li family's martial spirit patriarch. Chapter 104. This is the Li family's martial spirit ancestor, Li Xiantian. How can I not come in person for such a big shot? Zheng He chuckled. Fang Yu didn't say anything. Li Xiantian might be a key point in this battle, but he wasn't the only factor. For example, the Li family had been the kings of the underground for many years. Li Xiantian was still their pillar of support, but he wasn't their only pillar of support. Even if they defeated Li Xiantian, Zheng He would have to pay a heavy price. If the other side lost, Zheng He might not even have the power to turn the situation around. Therefore, regardless of whether it was Butler Chen or Fang Yu, they both believed that Zheng He, who had always been calm and collected, would probably first attack the Li family's troops before dealing with Li Xiantian. They never thought that Zheng He would do the opposite and deal with Li Xiantian alone. Humph. This person is very strong. The dragon soul suddenly spoke. Oh? You can tell? Fang Yu couldn't see through Zheng He's strength. How can I not tell? This guy is at least a 7-star, no, 8-star martial master. The dragon's soul observed for a while and said, 8-star martial master. Fang Yu's pupils contracted. You're not joking, right? Fang Yu had worked himself to death, but he was still a 5-star martial grand master. Now, he was saying that Zheng he was an 8-star martial grand master. Was he joking? You think I'm joking? The dragon's soul rolled its eyes at Fang Yu. 8-star martial master. Fang Yu looked at Zheng He with a heavy gaze. After all, an 8-star martial master was definitely a high-level martial master. It was hard to say whether they could defeat him. No wonder many people say that Zheng He is unfathomable, Fang Yu thought. If it weren't for the fact that he was forced by the situation and that the Tao family and his stupid teammates were in a hurry for success, Zheng He might have had the chance to break through to martial spirit if he had endured for a few more years. However, how can martial spirits be so simple? Rumor has it that when the 4 great academies recruit students, almost all of them become martial grandmasters before the age of 20. However, more than half of them still fail to become martial spirits. Fang Yu could not help but think. The 4 great academies were already very famous forces in the eastern part of the myriad spirit continent. They had gathered many geniuses, but more than half of them were still blocked at the entrance of the Martial Spirit Academy. It wasn't strange that Zheng He was stopped. Of course, it was also because of Li Qiuhong and her sister. Whether it was Li Qiuhong or Li Shuiying, their talents were visible to the naked eye. Fang Yu had to look up to them. In the future, they would become high-level martial grandmasters or even martial spirits. Once the Li family gave birth to another martial spirit, their position as the king of the underground world would be unshakable. All in all, there were many factors. Zheng He's attack on the Li family was neither good nor bad. There were pros and cons. You must be wondering why I was so anxious to make a move on the Li family. Zheng He suddenly spoke. Fang Yu did not expect Zheng He to have the mood to chat with him. Originally, I was only afraid of Li Qiuhong and Li Shuiying's talents. To be honest, their talents are too good. It is as if they inherited their parents' talents. Their parents had the potential to become disciples of the 4 great academies. However, they were tied down by worldly affairs and were pregnant with the sisters. They had no choice but to give up the opportunity to go to the 4 great academies. Otherwise, it would be hard to say if the Li family had 2 or 3 martial spirits. Zheng He said leisurely, however, the main reason why I have no choice but to attack now is because of you. Fang Yu. Me? Fang Yu was stunned. Your talent is beyond my expectations. If you were given a year or so, you might become the next martial spirit. And before you leave the Li family, you will help them get rid of us. Zheng He said leisurely, for this reason, I have to get rid of you before you go to the 4 great academies. Otherwise, who knows if you will become a dragon in the ocean when you go to the 4 great academies. The resources and experts of the 4 great academies were beyond the imagination of ordinary people. With Fang Yu's talent, he might really become a martial spirit in a year. Zheng He did not dare to gamble on this kind of wager. The consequences were too serious. Today, Fang Yu must die. I say, am I that scary? You want to kill me personally? Fang Yu felt helpless. I really don't know how you cultivate. You can be called a monster. If it were me, I would make you stay even if I had to pay the price. The dragon's soul said unhappily. Wasn't it? The dragon's soul did not know Fang Yu's cultivation speed before, but after it met Fang Yu, this kid was like sitting on a rocket. In just a few days, he rose several levels. With this kind of progress, even if he said he would become a martial spirit in a few days, the dragon's soul would believe it. Alright, enough chit-chat. Next, let's do it. Zheng He said. Cough cough. Why don't you continue to persuade me? Maybe I have the intention to surrender. Fang Yu coughed a few times and said. Don't think about stalling for time. I admit, without me, the situation on the other side is not optimistic. At most, it will be a tie. For this reason, I have to quickly get rid of Li Xiantian and go straight to the root of the problem. Zheng He said frankly. Since you have said so, what else can I say? Fang Yu was helpless. Zheng He had said everything he wanted to say. Even if he wanted to continue delaying, he could not find a topic to talk about. The cultivation method that I, Zheng He, practice is called Haoren method. It is orthodox and peaceful. Zheng He said to himself. Fang Yu's mouth twitched. To hell with orthodox and peaceful. This guy is simply ruthless, okay? He is almost on par with Fang Zhao. But in terms of talent, maybe Zheng He's talent is higher? Fang Yu could not help but think. After all, Fang Zhao was at most a 3-star martial grand master, and could not be higher. Zheng He was about the same age as Fang Zhao, but he was an 8-star martial grand master. It was obvious who was stronger and who was weaker. Haoren battle suit. As soon as Zheng He came up, he activated his noble spirit and turned it into a faintly discernible battle suit to protect himself. Damn, this is an old turtle. He added a defense for himself first. This kind of person is not easy to kill. The dragon soul smacked its lips and said, So what? Can he block a slash from my dragon teeth saber? Fang Yu raised his eyebrows. Even a martial emperor might not have an extraterritorial spirit weapon forged from the dragon emperor's tooth. What could a mere 8-star martial grand master do to him? You are indeed not an ordinary martial grand master. If it were someone else, even if they were not trembling in fear, they would not dare to face me like this. You are extraordinary. Zheng He was full of praise for Fang Yu. Why aren't you my son? Zheng He sighed again. Fang Yu was speechless. Who wants to be your son? In order to avoid any accidents and your trump card, I can only take out this item in advance. I originally prepared it for Chunli. As he spoke, Zheng He slowly took out an item. Chapter 105. This was a tattered page of a book. There was no aura on it, and it was completely ordinary. At the very least, Fang Yu couldn't see anything special about it. Huh? This thing is a little strange. The dragon soul narrowed its eyes. Oh! Fang Yu was a little surprised. Although the dragon soul wasn't reliable, it was still an existence that had once reached the saint realm. It wouldn't speak without thinking. If it said that this thing was strange, then it was strange. Buzz, without waiting for Fang Yu to react, it quickly enlarged and shrouded Fang Yu. Not good. Fang Yu knew that things weren't good. Before he could retreat, he was completely covered by the light released by this thing. When Fang Yu's eyes regained their clarity, he found himself in another place. He was still in front of the Li family's stone wall, but everything was like a foreign object. It was another world. Fang Yu even saw himself. What is this situation? Fang Yu was dumbfounded. This is a world belonging to the soul. You were pulled in by my soul book's remnant page. Zheng He said with a chuckle. Soul book's remnant page? Fang Yu had never heard of such a thing. This is a natural treasure. Of course, this kind of thing isn't something that I can possess. I only got a remnant page, but to pull you into this world, it's enough. Zheng He said with a smile. Fang Yu looked vigilant. Soul world? What the hell is this? These things are a bit complicated to explain, but you don't need to understand because you will die here. Zheng He approached step by step with a smile on his face. Fang Yu felt a threat to his life. That's right, in addition to feeling Zheng He's powerful soul, he also felt the Aoran battle armor wrapped around Zheng He's body. Zheng He's Aoran Qi had actually merged with his soul. Aoran Qi is one of the most mysterious forces in the world. Even if you become a soul, it will still tightly adhere to you. Isn't it magical? Zheng He's smile didn't diminish. He had Fang Yu in his grasp. Every single one of his actions revealed this kind of feeling. I see. It's a remnant page of the soul tome. I was wondering why this aura was so familiar. Suddenly, a familiar voice rang in his ears. Fang Yu was stunned, but he didn't know when the dragon's soul had arrived, but it was floating beside him, talking to itself. Why are you here? Fang Yu asked in surprise. Why can't I come? Did you forget? I'm already in a soul state. Are you stupid? The dragon's soul was speechless. As for Fang Yu, if you said he was powerful, then he was indeed powerful. But if you said he wasn't, then sometimes he was like a little newbie, making people speechless. This is Zheng He also saw the appearance of the dragon soul and was shocked. Although the dragon soul was no longer in its peak state, the dragon soul's appearance and aura were still extremely majestic. The strength of one's soul could not be determined purely by size. Otherwise, wouldn't the soul of a powerhouse be as vast as the sea? Therefore, the strength of one's soul couldn't be judged by size alone. What is this? You old brat, I thought you had some tricks up your sleeve. So this is how you play. But I like it. After all, I don't have a physical body anymore. The dragon's soul sighed. That's right, not having a physical body was an eternal pain for him. He dared to say that if he had a physical body, he wouldn't have fallen to such a state. It could only be said that fate was playing tricks on him. There's no time for you to be sad. Get ready to make your move. Fang Yu reminded the dragon soul. Originally, he was alone, but he suddenly came to this soul world. He probably wasn't Zheng He's opponent. Fortunately, the dragon soul was here. 2 against 1, their chances of winning were very high. Get ready to make your move? Kid, it's not that I want to say this, but if it weren't for the fact that you and I are partners, you wouldn't have come back alive today if you had rashly entered such a dangerous place. The dragon's soul said gloomily. And? Fang Yu frowned. What did the dragon's soul mean by this? What I mean is, in the soul world, all of you are younger brothers. Do you know how long I have been in this soul state? A full 100 years. My way of playing with souls isn't something you can imagine out of thin air. After saying that, the dragon's soul looked up to the sky and roared. The next moment, a giant dragon that was 100 feet long soared into the sky. And, it feels good. The dragon's soul examined its appearance and nodded in satisfaction. This was its true appearance. It was all because of Hua the martial sage and those few old fellows who persecuted it and even caused it to lose its physical body. Otherwise, how could it become Fang Yu's weapon spirit? This is the dragon race? Zheng He's expression changed greatly. What the dragon race meant was obvious. If Zheng He were to fight with the dragon race, who would win and who would lose, it was self-evident. I am the dragon race. Why are you running away? It's not too late to leave now. The dragon's soul chuckled and said, Run? If this thing is yours, I can only run. Unfortunately, you have forgotten that this thing is mine. Zheng He wasn't shocked but laughed instead. Swish. The next moment, Zheng He decisively left. Damn it, didn't he run away? What is this old brat doing? The dragon's soul was stunned by Zheng He's operation. What was this person trying to do? Something's not right. Fang Yu realized that the situation wasn't right. Because if Zheng He left, wouldn't they be trapped in the soul book remnant page? Hurry up and leave. Fang Yu urged the dragon's soul. The dragon's soul wasn't a fool and also realized that the situation wasn't right. If they didn't leave quickly, they would fall into the hands of others. However, they were still one step too late. When the dragon's soul wanted to leave, it realized that it couldn't get out. We can't get out, the dragon's soul said in a daze. Aren't you very good at playing with souls? Think of a way. Fang Yu's face changed. Wasn't this contrast a little too big? Just now, it still had a majestic appearance. Why did it suddenly wither? To be honest, this soul book remnant page, it's easy to get in, but not easy to get out. I was just thinking of coming in and killing him, and everything would be over. Little did I know that he said, fight, and turned to leave, catching me off guard. The dragon soul's tone was resentful. This really can't be blamed on me. The opponent is too cunning. Fang Yu was speechless. On the other hand, near the Li family, various powerhouses had already started fighting fiercely. Zheng He invited them to help and promised them many benefits. Now, only the Li family was left to redeem the promise. After exterminating the Li family, we brothers will be able to eat and drink well. Go, go, go! Succeed or die trying. Anyway, if we continue to mess around, we won't have much of a future. Why don't we take a gamble and give it a try? Once the underground black market changes dynasties, we will be reborn. Go! The enemy came aggressively, causing Li Qiuhong to turn pale. Chapter 106. Li Qiuhong was undoubtedly a young genius, but this was the first time she had encountered such a life-and-death battle. This was different from the underground Colosseum. In the underground Colosseum, everything was under control. Even if there were some changes, they would still be able to command the overall situation. But now it was different. This was a war of extermination. There was only victory and defeat, life and death. It was very pure. There was nothing more. Young miss, don't panic. They are all a bunch of brave and ruthless people. To be honest, if these chess pieces were controlled by Zheng He, I would be extremely afraid, because I know Zheng He's ability very well. If he really controls these villains, we will be in great danger and trouble. Steward Chen said calmly, but now that Zheng He is not here, it is only a matter of time before we defeat them. Zheng He went to the place where the martial spirit ancestor is? Li Shuiying asked. In fact, no one knew where the Li family's martial spirit ancestor was in seclusion. It was very mysterious. Even Li Shuiying did not know. She was one of the successors of the Li family, but she also did not know this secret. From this, it could be seen how secretive Li Xiantian's position was. However, Steward Chen did not think that Zheng He could not find it. Zheng He was a very calm and sinister person. Since he had made a move, he must have a foolproof plan. Now, they could only hope that Fang Yu could stop Zheng He. At the very least, they had to delay until the end of the battle. Otherwise, it would not be good. Yes, at least that's what it looks like. Grandpa Chen, could Zheng He really have some way to deal with the martial spirit ancestor? Li Qiuhong was worried. It was not her turn to not be worried. Every move of Zheng He's was very terrifying, hitting the bullseye. If not for their good luck, the Li family would have changed hands. Now that Zheng He had once again risked his life, it was very difficult for her to turn a blind eye. That's a possibility, but it's not big. Zheng He isn't an idiot. If he doesn't have enough confidence, he definitely won't make things difficult for the martial spirit patriarch. Since he has made things difficult for him, he definitely has full confidence. However, I can't think of any method that can allow a martial grand master to snipe a martial spirit. Steward Chen gently shook his head. That's right, a method of this level was not something they could think of at the moment. Just because they couldn't think of it didn't mean that it didn't exist. They couldn't represent others. Perhaps the Black Demon Martial King had interfered and helped? Thinking of this, Steward Chen rejected the idea. The Black Demon Martial King's appetite was very big. If it weren't for Aotian Martial King and the treasure house stopping him, Zheng He would have already prepared to cut his meat. It was rare for him to escape the jaws of the Black Demon Martial King. After the matter was settled, as long as he paid a small price, he would be able to resolve it. Why would Zheng He bring trouble upon himself? One had to know that under the direct rejection of Aotian Martial King and the treasure house, Sending 10 Dark Guard was the Black Demon Martial King's greatest effort. More importantly, it was to attract the attention of Aotion Martial King and the others. This was what it meant to be clever. Therefore, if Zheng He had a method, then that method definitely didn't come from the Black Demon Martial King. Forget it, there's no point in thinking too much. First miss, second miss. Our top priority is to stabilize the situation and defeat these invaders one by one. Steward Chen changed the topic. I know that they have wild ambitions and even asked the 3 great families for help. However, the 3 great families are definitely not to be trifled with. If you want their help, you have to establish a situation where you are 90% certain. If the situation is not 90% certain, the 3 great families will definitely not casually make a move. The underground black market and the 3 great families had never interfered with each other. Or it could be said that the underground black market was too powerful. Before the 3 great families were confident, they were not willing to offend the Li family. Even if the Li family seemed to be at their wits' end this time, before the situation was resolved, they would not use thunder to strike. They were afraid that the Li family would have the last laugh. At that time, when the Li family came to settle the score, they would be asking for a snub. After all, the Li family had been the king of the underground world for many years. They had accumulated a lot of power and influence. It was not a joke. And, although Li Qiuhong was worried, she could only do this now. And, after thinking about it, if we continue to stay here, there's an 80% to 90% chance that we won't die. We just can't get out. The dragon's soul pondered for a long time and said seriously. Fang Yu wanted to slap it. What was the difference between saying it and not saying it? Super slaughter system, I wonder if there's any way to break this situation? In the end, Fang Yu asked the super slaughter system for help. Ding. Consulting fee 1.0 slaughter points. The super slaughter system replied coldly. Buy it. Fang Yu reluctantly bought it. Anyway, he still had the chance to earn points. If he was trapped here, by the time he got out, the Li family would have been annihilated. What was the point? Ding. The current problem is that we can't leave the Remnant Soul page. As long as the Remnant Soul page recognizes us as its master, we will be able to get out. The super slaughter system gave the answer. So simple? That's not right. The Remnant Soul page still has its own consciousness? Fang Yu was astonished. He remembered that this thing was just a broken piece of paper, right? It still had a remnant consciousness? Was it really not joking with him? Ding. The Soul Book has a total of 8,100 pages. Each page is an independent soul world. After the Soul Book was torn apart, each page has its own consciousness. This remnant soul page is very broken, but its consciousness is still there. As long as we can solve the problem of the consciousness recognizing us as its master, we will be able to get out. That sounds very simple. May I ask, how can we force the consciousness of the Soul Book to recognize us as its master? If the remnant soul page does not have an owner, then Martial Master and above would have the chance to force the remnant soul page to recognize us as its master. Unfortunately, the remnant soul page already has an owner. If we want to force it to recognize us as its master, we need to at least have the strength of a martial saint. Martial saint? Fang Yu rolled his eyes. If he was a martial saint, he could kill Zheng He with one slap. He could guarantee that the other party would not even have the chance to resist. How could he have fallen to this point? The system's words were equivalent to not saying anything. Because the host has not reached the standard of a martial saint, the system will now provide the second plan. The super slaughter system continued. What? Second plan? Fang Yu could not help but re-evaluate the super slaughter system. This thing was really mysterious. It was omnipotent. If one plan did not work, it would give birth to another. Cough, cough, this second plan, does it require money? Fang Yu tried peaceful means before resorting to force. although in this situation, he could only buy it if it required money. However, his slaughter points were limited. If he could not afford it, then it would be awkward. Second plan, price is 15. 0 slaughter points. 15. 0 slaughter points. Fang Yu frowned. This price was comparable to a martial arts advancement. Even so, 15. 0 slaughter points was still something Fang Yu could afford. Thus, he decisively said, "I'll buy it." Chapter 107. Ding. Purchase successful. The second plan is as follows. The super slaughter system will act for the host and forcefully cover the connection between Zheng He and the remnant page of the soul book and become the new owner of the remnant page of the soul book. So simple? Fang Yu's eyes lit up. Not simple. If you want to forcefully cover it, it depends on the level of the target. The remnant page of the soul book requires the strength of a martial saint. The host is far from it. Fang Yu, who was ridiculed by the system, was speechless. He could only nod his head. "All right, I'll buy the second plan anyway." Ding. The owner of the remnant page of the soul book has been replaced by host Fang Yu. Oh, at the same time, Fang Yu felt that this soul world was connected to his mind. I really became the owner of the remnant page of the soul book. Fang Yu clicked his tongue in amazement. It was really too miraculous. Zheng He's mark on the remnant page of the soul book had been quietly erased. Although the super slaughter system had done many incredible things, such as erasing the mark of a martial saint, it might be related to the level of the dragon subduing pagoda. The feeling at that time was far less wonderful than now. And this place, why does it seem to be connected to your mind? The dragon soul, who was bored to death and thinking about what to do if it was really trapped here for 100 years, discovered that Fang Yu was actually one with the soul world and could not help but exclaim in surprise, "Isn't this the same as becoming the owner of the soul world? How did Fang Yu do it?" The dragon soul was the artifact spirit of Fang Yu's dragon teeth blade. There was a connection between them. Even if he hid it, the dragon soul would still be able to sense it. I have already become the owner of this soul world. Simply put, this remnant page of the soul book is mine. Fang Yu said generously. How is this possible? Weren't you just like me and didn't know what to do? How did you suddenly become the owner of the remnant page of the soul book? The dragon soul asked in disbelief. Even if it knew that Fang Yu was not simple, wasn't it too simple and crude to suddenly become the owner of the remnant page of the soul book? It could not accept it. A fine bird chooses a fine tree to nest in. I, Fang Yu, am destined to become a martial emperor. If you don't follow me, should you follow Zheng He? Fang Yu said confidently. Where does your confidence come from? The dragon soul wanted to refute, but it couldn't. Because the truth was that the remnant page of the soul book had inexplicably become Fang Yu's. Fang Yu felt the remnant page of the soul book, and his complexion turned ugly. This remnant page of the soul book is extremely damaged. If it continues to be used, it will turn into ashes in less than 8 to 10 times. There's such a thing? Then what should he do? To be honest, I've always treated the soul book as a legend. The dragon soul clicked its tongue in wonder. After all, the number of things that are born and nurtured by the heavens can be counted. Even a martial emperor might not necessarily encounter one. Back when the soul tomes were torn to pieces, some people got hold of them, and some people saw them, but couldn't get hold of them. In any case, they really haven't appeared for many years. Zheng He got one, but you snatched it away from him. Zheng He can't afford to raise this thing. The remnant page of the soul book needs soul nourishment. Do you know what that means? Fang Yu shook his head and asked. The remnant page of the soul book hasn't appeared for a long time, but I understand soul nourishment. It means to give a part of your soul energy to it. First, it needs to stabilize the injury and then recover bit by bit. After saying that, the dragon soul's expression changed. Kid, this is not a joke, this will drag down your cultivation. Fang Yu is now only a martial grandmaster. Once he nourishes the remnant page of the soul book, his soul will be listless all day long. What else can it do? This is neglecting the essentials. Fang Yu smiled but did not speak. Although the dragon soul is the spirit of his dragon teeth saber, and can sense his situation, only Fang Yu knows the specifics. He has already fused his soul and body. The fusion of soul and body means that Fang Yu's body and soul are synchronized. If the soul is injured, as long as the body is repaired, the soul can be recovered together. Although the speed is not that fast, it can heal the soul. This is an ironclad fact. Therefore, nourishing the remnant page of the soul book is not a big problem. In addition, there is also the void rat. It and I have made a bloodline contract. We can affect each other and also restore the remnant page of the soul book. Fang Yu thought to himself, according to the current situation, once the remnant page of the soul book is completely restored, it will be a complete soul world? Thinking of this, Fang Yu is extremely excited. Does this mean that when Fang Yu fights with people in the future, he will have a soul world as a support and backing? Then what is the point of fighting, won't it? This advantage will continue to grow as Fang Yu's cultivation increases. Buzz with a thought, Fang Yu has already left the soul world of the remnant page of the soul book. A piece of paper floated into his hand. At first glance, this is a piece of white paper, but in fact, it contains a broken soul world. Huh! Zheng He, who stepped into the stone wall, found that he has lost contact with the remnant page of the soul book. He can't help but change his expression. What's going on? Why did the remnant page of the soul book change owners? Zheng He muttered to himself. This doesn't make sense. What happened? Zheng He is puzzled, but his body suddenly trembled. There is no time to think. Because Li Xiantian is here. You are Zheng He from the Jing family? According to Xiao Chen, you are a ruthless person, but you take it for granted. You are a very terrifying opponent. Li Xiantian strolled over and said calmly, your talent is very good, your aptitude is very high. At least there is a 30% chance of becoming a martial spirit. 30% chance. Zheng He also widened his eyes at Li Xiantian's words. A 30% chance may not seem like much, but in fact, for an ordinary warrior to have a 5% chance of becoming a martial spirit, it is already very good. Even for the 4 great academies, more than half of the disciples are still blocked before the threshold of martial spirit. These are all people who can become martial grandmasters before the age of 20. In the end, they are still blocked before the threshold of martial spirit. From this, it can be seen that the martial spirit realm is extremely difficult. Even for a genius, it is as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Now that Zheng He has a 30% chance of becoming a martial spirit, even Zheng He is very excited. Phew! If possible, I also want to fight with you after becoming a martial spirit. The winner is the king and the loser is the bandit. Unfortunately, your people are too monstrous, too terrifying. I have to move in advance. It is my regret that I can't fight with you directly. Zheng He shook his head and said, Li Qiuhong and Li Shuiying aside, Fang Yu alone is enough to make him unable to eat or sleep in peace. There is no room for him to deal with him calmly. Chapter 108. Are you talking about Fang Yu? Li Xiantian seemed to have sensed something and said, Oh? Senior, you know Fang Yu? Zheng He was surprised for a moment before coming to a realization. That's right, as long as you see such a monster, it's impossible to ignore him. Yes, he's the reason why I took the initiative to attack. This child is too monstrous, give him another year. I'm afraid he'll already be a martial spirit. Your Li family has done him a favor, and he just so happens to be at his peak. There's no reason not to help the Li family eradicate us. Moreover, such a young martial spirit, even in the 4 great academies, there aren't many. At that time, he will have more backers, and my backer, the Black Demon Martial King, won't be able to protect me. After pausing for a moment, Zheng He said with a hint of ridicule. Rather than saying that he and the Black Demon Martial King had a master-disciple relationship, it was better to say that there was a transaction of interest between them. Only with sufficient benefits would the Black Demon Martial King look at Zheng He. Without sufficient benefits, even if Zheng He died, the Black Demon Martial King probably wouldn't care. But you dealt with me today. Do you have a way to suppress a martial spirit? Li Xiantian asked again. Senior, you're a very amazing person. Your talent is probably in the top 3 among all the people I've seen. Speaking of which, it's ironic. Right now, the person ranked first is Fang Yu, and the second is the treasure house's king of plentiful treasures. Zheng He said slowly, you have seen Fang Yu's monstrous talent before. Even if you don't know his previous situation, when a monstrous talent stands in front of a genius can feel how terrifying this person is. As for Martial King of many treasures, when he was in the 4 great academies, he even broke into the top 10 for a period of time. Therefore, it's not strange that he has the achievement of a 6-star Martial King. After all, he once stood above many of his peers in a place like the 4 great academies. Even if it's the top 10, it's still something that can only be found by chance. Martial King of many treasures. This time, it was his daughter who helped us stop the Black Demon Martial King. Li Xiantian mumbled to himself. No matter what their intentions are, Li Xiantian, will remember Jinbao Tower's help this time. Actually, Senior, your talent is truly very demonic, very frightening. If you weren't distracted by medicine concocting, I believe that your accomplishments would be even greater, and you might even have the chance to break through to Martial King. Zheng He said regretfully, if only we weren't enemies it would be so much better. We're not enemies to begin with. It's just that the Zheng family isn't satisfied with the cake on your plate and wants to snatch the cake that belongs to us, the protagonist. I'm sure the Li family hasn't done anything to let the Zheng family down. Li Xiantian said coldly. Qiu Hong and Shui Ying's parents were juniors that I had high hopes for. They were my direct relatives, but you colluded with outsiders to kill them. If it wasn't for the sake of stabilizing the situation, your Jing family would have been gone on that day. The higher my position, the more I can't do as I please. Senior, it's very uncomfortable. Zheng He chuckled. That's right, if it was Fang Yu and someone did that, Fang Yu could have killed them directly. Fang Yu wouldn't care because he was Fang Yu, that's all. But Li Xiantian couldn't. The reason was simple. He was Li Xiantian. He was the martial spirit ancestor of the Li family. If he rashly killed the Jing family, the criticism would be the least of it, but the worst-case scenario would be that the underground black market would be in turmoil. This was the most important thing. This was the main reason why he had to think twice before acting. If you're done, you can die now. I still have to continue concocting medicine. Li Xiantian felt a headache coming on. Concocting medicine required a calm mind, but talking to Zheng he made him angrier and angrier. If not for the fact that his temperament had improved over the years, he really would have killed Zheng he immediately. Right, is little friend Fang Yu all right? Li Xiantian seemed to have thought of something and asked. Senior, why do you have to ask so many questions? He's a martial grandmaster, and I'm also a martial grandmaster. How can I casually kill a monster like him? He's definitely alive because I can't find a way to kill him for the time being. But after I deal with you, I'll have a way. Zheng He smiled and said. It seems that you're sure you can deal with me? Li Xiantian blinked and said. He was really curious. There was a huge difference between a martial grand master and a martial spirit. It could be said that 10 martial grand masters couldn't kill a martial spirit. 10 dark guards would be nothing more than food. If that was the case, How could Zheng He deal with him? Li Xiantian was puzzled. I don't have a way to deal with you, but he can. With that, Zheng He clapped his hands and said, Friend, it's time for you to appear. Zheng He, I didn't expect you to find a good target for me. Although his cultivation is a little low, his potential is huge. He has a chance to become a martial emperor in the future. With a burst of laughter, a black-robed figure appeared without any warning. Li Xiantian was on high alert. Who was this person? He couldn't sense any aura from him. Who are you? No. You're not necessarily a human. Li Xiantian stared at him and said, You're from the Ghost Clan. Li Xiantian said word by word. The Ghost Clan. It was a very rare clan. However, Li Xiantian was not unfamiliar with it. Because when he was traveling, he once went to a place where the Ghost Clan stayed and investigated many things about the Ghost Clan. At the same time, he knew that the most terrifying thing about the Ghost Clan was the natal possession. This was a method of possession that had a high success rate. Not to mention a martial spirit, even a martial king would find it difficult to resist. Only by becoming a martial emperor and being imbued with the aura of the emperor between heaven and earth would one have the ability to resist. Other than that, one could only rely on some treasures. However, Li Xiantian did not meet any of these conditions. If the other party was really from the Ghost Clan, then he would be in big trouble. I didn't expect you to be able to recognize my origin. Interesting. The Ghost Clan member chuckled without any emotion. You're about to become one with me. Do you have anything to say? It's not that simple. Li Xiantian suddenly attacked. If he didn't take the initiative now, he would be in trouble later. There's a path to heaven but you don't want to take it. There's no door to hell but you barge in. After saying that, the Ghost Clan also went up to him. I wonder what's going on inside? Fang Yu hurried over. He was worried that Zheng He had prepared some kind of method to deal with Li Xiantian. At first, Fang Yu didn't think that Zheng He would be much of a threat. No matter what, the Zheng family didn't have a martial spirit. Zheng He also didn't go to the 4 big academies to study. Logically speaking, even if there was an accident, it wouldn't be too unexpected. However, after seeing the remnant pages of the Soul Book, Fang Yu couldn't stay calm. This Zheng He must have had a fortuitous encounter. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.